artist, and on YouTube, I tell the story of the first time I ever DM'd my game, Atlantis. But I'm also starting a little series of a kind of visual novel animatic series where I tell the love story between my character, Noella, and the NPC, Yasuhiro, and how they fell in love and got together. So yeah, you could check that out there. And today I'm going to be playing Minvela, the very energetic and out there twin sister to my wonderful twin, Ori.
No. It's Nora.
Lovely. All right, and on to our next player, StarShinobi.
Hi, I'm StarShinobi at StarShinobi on Instagram and Twitter. I am currently playing on 2 campaigns. I am playing on the Waffles Maple Syrup's Pathfinder campaign of Outcast and Outclassed, which is amazing if you guys want to check that out. And I also play on the mini campaign, which will be wrapping up next Friday, Agents of Nyx, which is a Theros-based D&D game for Creators Assemble. That's all I do. Otherwise, I just talk too much about D&D and TTRPGs on the internet, and I always encourage people to come have a conversation.
She's also one of the most kind people on D&D Twitter, so go follow her.
Yes, one of the kindest. All right, and last but never least, we have Mike Farty.
Hi, I'm Mike Farty. I am the DM over at Wonders and Blunders. We're a 5e horror comedy, kind of drifting more and more into just a family comedy D&D podcast. We are on break right now recording our 2nd season, but we have over 100 episodes to binge and enjoy. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts. And today, I'm going to be playing Alto, or Project Stormcloud, who is a naturalist.
Excellent.
Also, I totally blanked on mine doing stream. I will be playing Raelyn Carr, an Invoker.
It's all good. I tend
panic.
to do that too. Absolutely. All right, folks. So these are our players, and this is our game. So let's start playing. All right. So welcome to Arden, a world amongst the golden clouds of the gas giant Varna. Find ourselves in the deeper outer drifts. The world of Arden is a moon, actually, that collapsed into this gas giant planet Varna. Now, what makes up the world or civilization are these large floating islands and continents and clusters of islands. And they tend to formulate much like a galaxy would in this space, and there is an inner core of drifts and an outer core of drifts. Where we're going, Hiraeth, is deep on the outer drift, far from the influence of much of the authorities in Arden. And in that sense, a pretty small town kind of vibe throughout. It's relatively small and isolated, with one tiny little cloud station in the town of Sonder to allow travelers to come and for different exports. The badlands that surround Sonder are speckled with solar fields and geothermal wells, and the small communities that maintain them. The hummock of Hiraeth, if you're familiar with iceberg language, hummock is just the top that's above the water, but in this sense above clouds, is really small. But the bummock, or the butt of the iceberg, as you might say, dives vastly deep beneath the clouds, and this is where the deep, rich geothermal wells dig their sustainable energy from, that they then package and send out to the other drifts to sustain their small community. And people are relatively happy with this, till recently. Recently, a particular faction of the drifts, known as the Virian Corps, have begun to grow interested in this little part of the world. The Virian Corps has a significant interest in finding old technology from before the world collapsed into the gas giant. And there's been rumors that secrets have been found in the deep geothermal wells of Sonder. So what did the Virian Corps do? They blew up some other islands to make small little islands that they can then hover above Hiraeth as a threat to the population. And then they began to bribe, corrupt, weasel their way into the small, simple community to begin influencing wells and the vast wealth that could be produced from this island. Instead of, these people just keeping it real, keeping it simple, just sustaining themselves while helping out some other drifts. Valyrian Corps sees an opportunity for intense exploitation. And this is why you all have come to Hiraeth, or have, at the very least, perhaps a resident of Hiraeth, begin to stand up to the Valyrian Corps. A contact who you only know to be within Felix Junk House, which is a shop in Sonder, in the town center, would like to enlist your aid in essentially freeing one of these geothermal wells from the influence of the Valyrian Corps. But before we jump into that, I'd like to see who all of you are, where you're coming from. And for the audience, in all my one-shots, I always do little character vignettes in the beginning for them to introduce their characters. So, that being said, go around the room. So, Alto, Project Stormcloud, where can we find you as we begin to enter into this journey?
So I think what we see is a little tiny floating rock that is just kind of drifting through some clouds, and there's a fairly distressed looking sheep on it, having grazed all the remaining grass that is on this little rock and is just kind of peering over the edge. And out of the clouds comes this little swarm of tiny blackbirds, and the blackbirds are shimmering with this sort of golden hue that catches the sun, and as they get closer you can hear just the whirring of lots of little tiny propellers, and all the birds land together and then form up into Alto, who is a 7-foot tall, basically featureless amalgam of tiny nanobots, which quickly form up into this 7-foot tall, quite lanky creature, which leans down over the sheep. Colorful robes start to sprout out and adorn his body, and lastly, a big floppy straw hat lands on his head. And he leans down towards the sheep and he says, "Well, you have gotten yourself in quite some trouble. Let's get you home."
Sheep just looks very confused, and it does that thing animals do when they know they're in trouble, but they don't quite get what reality is, and it just moves to the edge of the rock and then looks, sees no way to go, moves to the other edge, keeps moving around to different edges until just looking up at you.
And Alto kneels down and very gently scoops up the sheep and is just holding it in his arms, and then very casually just falls backwards off of the rock. And I think him and the sheep fall into a cloud, and then when they come out the other side, it is a giant black and gold eagle holding on to the sheep, swooping down, taking the scenic route over the farmlands, trying to skim the water with and really give the sheep a good time, really show the sheep how good it's got it down here, and then lands it back to a rancher who is looking after a herd of very similar looking sheep.
Absolutely. And as you see, the sheep kind of does a nice little tumble as you land it down. It does a little flippy flop, and it lands with its legs sprout out and its arms down like this, just as if it's seen God. And
I think Alto does the same. Alto hits the ground as the eagle, and all of the nanobots just shatter and tumble until they tumble back into his form, and he's sitting on the ground just just having a laugh and looking at the sheep, and then rubs its head.
Absolutely. And you can see the rancher comes riding down quickly and just gives you a quick tip of their hat. They've got a cowboy hat on, and they just nod to you. Being from the Valkyrie prairies, they are used to your presence.
And he hasn't quite figured out what the hat tipping means yet, so he just kind of wiggles his big floppy hat around, and then stands up and begins to wander back towards Sonder.
Excellent. And as you wander back to Sonder, this rancher shepherds this sheep back to the herd. As you wander through, you can see kind of like you crest a little small hillock in the prairie, and you see the vista that is the Valkyrie prairies, and you can see all manner of animals and wildlife living in unison with these vast mechanical machines that walk around like beasts of burden themselves, with massive greenhouses on their backs growing beautiful flowers. And you hear the whistles of birds and buzzing of bees as you move through this idyllic space to head to Sonder. All right. Next, we have Raelyn Carr.
Well, Raylan, after getting some information about what they are going to do, is she would actually head back out into the Badlands. She would leave the town and go out. Having, in her experience, people out, the common people usually know more about what's going on than those who have a focused point of view in the political power. So she would head out there. She's a walker, so she will just walk, but what people will notice about her is she's fairly tall, but the thing that you instantly notice is she actually has a prosthetic arm. Her left arm is made of metal, and she has scarring up the left side of her face up into her eye, which is actually milky white. So she has battle damage for sure.
Absolutely. And, you know, wandering out into these Badlands, you would see, if you were to head up to the Ardora Badlands, you would find just absolute massive fields of solar panels and wind turbines. The solar panels themselves almost created in this flower-like arrangement, and the longer you stay there, you see them all just slowly in unison shifting with the sun in the sky, as you can just see sort of a few different solar farmers moving about on the backs of strange beasts of burden that are not, you know, this little rock on Varna has, you know, it's got sheep, it's got horses, but it's also got, you know, these giant almost rock-like shelled slugs that are snails that are, you can see people riding out there. These particular animals are fitted to the Ardora Badlands and can endure the intense heat that comes off of the solar panels as well, as they tend to them. As you can see, it's a hot day with the sun in its zenith right now. Okay. And now for the sisters. Imagine you two are together, so who would like to describe their character first?
Go for it.
Yeah, that's I was just about to say. So, in some of the shopping districts of Sonder, there is just this striding, gliding, just blue elven woman with this ombre, white purplish hair, and these flowing dress with this jacket. It is all purple and just decorated to the nines with metallics of golds and just silver. And it just really like accentuates and like exaggerates her movements with how she goes, as she just also has all these bags of materials. Just like, okay, so I've gotten all of the gears that I need, but now I need some wires too for my next one. And where'd she go? And she looks around for her sister and is like, oh, there you go. Ori over here. Come on, we got to get going.
And about, I'd say like 10 paces behind her sister, you see a similar looking blue elven woman, except she's where Minvela is bright and colorful. Nora is not. Black everything, black tunic, pants, boots, cloak, everything, and just is like, we've been at this for 4 minutes already, and where did you get all of those bags?
From the last stores that we were in, of course.
How long is this going to take?
Oh, we still have plenty of time. We're going to be doing this until we have to go to a meeting. I need materials, Ori. I have such a wonderful idea for my next invention.
Of course you do. Must we do this the entire time? Can we go get a drink or something?
Oh, actually, that sounds good. Yeah. But first, this next door, I see the wires that I need.
I'll wait outside.
Absolutely excellent. So now that you're in Sonder, so you would notice, and for Raylan and Alto, as I'd say, it's probably similar timing that you are coming to Sonder. Anyone who's arriving would notice that those of you who have any knowledge of kind of like religion in this part of the world, you know that these folk here practice Druidism, not Druidism, Druidism. It's just a very like several generations disconnected religion, where just because the cataclysm that sundered this world just lost so much that it's just sort of the whatever they can muster up of the religion. And you know that it is the season of Yule, or what one might call Yule, in our world. There are fake plastic green trees outside of everyone's houses that you can see folk from all over Sonder, which is a very simple town. It's basically 2 roads. And like they go and put decorations on other people's trees that are in their front porches and yards, because evergreen trees don't grow here, so they're all fake. There's no real ones whatsoever. Someone might have like a strange, palm bush that they've decorated similarly. But you would also see kind of floating up on all of the homes are these kites that go up into the air, where you can see these long worm-like kites, you might say upon looking at them. They are green and red all over. The paper kind of flourishes out into tails, and it has just at the head just these 2 horns on it, and you can see these are all over. Alto being local, you would know that this is the great horned long whale, which is a at this point mostly mythical titan to these people, that is like the very little that has remained from the pre-sundering world. They know, like, there was once a great horned long whale, and they used to go all over the skies and through the clouds and rain down all over this village, rain to grow the crops. A lot of stories like that from especially the older generation whose grandparents or great-grandparents may have lived during the pre-sundered world. But yeah, you would all come to Sonder at this point. And if there's anything you want to do before you go to Felix Junk Shop, you can. But otherwise, we can move on to that. Is there anything anyone would like to do as they enter town?
I want to leave some decorations on some people's trees, just like some little bows that are made out of like twisted wire and stuff, and just like, oh, such a lovely little thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And yeah, absolutely.
I think Alto is trying to turn as many metal decorations into real plants as possible. So he sort of moving up and then placing his hand over them, and his hand kind of dissolves into lots of little nanobots and actually like changes the genetic makeup of the metal into organics, like leaving little plants and wreaths on as many trees as he can.
I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can see several little plants growing all over, and I imagine as the sisters are going through town, or at least I guess Nori following Minvela as she does this, you would see this.
Nora.
I did say Nora. Oh, did I say Nori?
No, you didn't. You said Nori. That's your name, darling. Yes.
Nora. As you would see this, nanobot amalgam mingling around all over. Now, you two would know what a nanite creature is, and to see one just wandering around with just doing people stuff is strange. Like from where you come from or where you grew up, nanite beasts were wild, dangerous creatures that live in sundered zones, and then mostly are just killed if they can be, because they're too dangerous. So it'd be very strange to see one in a straw hat wandering around doing nice little things.
Vela, would you look at that? Do you see that?
I do. Huh.
What'd you make of it?
I don't really know. Do you...
I don't either. You're the technological one, so I thought maybe you had some sort of idea.
Well, not really used to be like that. They're... I wonder if there's someone here that's programmed them to be like that. And they can make different makes, and I wonder if I could do the same thing. Ooh.
I have no doubt.
Next project idea.
I'll take out a little notebook that I carry with me, and I will write it down on this ever-growing list of ideas that Minvela has. Just adding it to the list.
Absolutely. And as you're doing that, as Minvela is getting excited and kind of moving forward, you're kind of like, you would see Nora, you would feel just like someone just like a beast of burden just like bump into you and push you forward, as you could just see this sun-tanned rancher who has like dressed almost exactly like Alto, just sort of looks at you and just, I don't know, it's just Alto. It's just Alto. You know, no special. He's just Alto. And just keeps moving.
Beg your pardon.
It's just Alto. It's just Alto. He's not special.
Right.
And you see he's just pulling along this massive snail creature that has a big backpack on it filled with big, large battery packs holding a lot of energy.
Alto.
At this point, Alto has turned into a version of the great horned whale. And is like chasing groups of kids around, being like, "I will rain on your parade."
I love him so much.
Absolutely. You see some kids running away. You see like at least like one kid who's like legitimately terrified as they're running away. And then you can see like their older sister is real brave and is just like chasing you and trying to catch your tail.
Ori, my book.
I feel like as I'm entering, I would see that one child and just kind of like step beside him and let him hide behind my skirt.
Absolutely.
Because my skirt is big. I have a big breast.
You see the kid just sort of like does like a skid and drift as the sand kicks up in the air and his clasps on behind to your legs, as Alto's fluttering around as the great horned whale.
You're all right, darling. It's all just make pretend.
My big brother told me that the great horned whale used to eat kids who didn't behave right.
Well, that sounds just completely wrong.
I don't know. You see how big that mouth is, and it goes through the clouds. And he said that on the fourth night of Yule, which is what this is, that if you're out after dark, that the great horned whale will come eat you. You're not home.
Well, it's a good thing we're all sleeping then.
That's right.
Yeah. See, you're okay. See, it's just fine.
Okay. And then kind of confidently stands up and adjusts his own hat And it's kind of
Just
like
to have some
smash.
fun with it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my hand on him, and I'm going to use a action point to cast Inspire on him and say, "There's no need to be afraid, darling. There's no need."
That's right. That's right. I'm good. I'm a good boy, and I've been good this
Yes.
year. And you're right. You're right. And you see, he confidently goes and joins his big sister, chasing Alto around.
Go get him.
And you see the kid literally attempts to jump on Alto's back. I'm gonna do our first roll of the night for that.
Ooh.
For child number 2. And Alto, you feel this kid leap up, and you feel the weight on your back for a moment as he's hugged onto you, and now has a big smile on his face, and you can hear him be like, "This ain't so bad. This ain't so bad."
You got him.
Yeah, and Alto is like overjoyed, but is just like taking in rumors that he's heard about this whale, and so like his face just kind of morphs from the front side to the back side, right in front of where the kid is holding on,
Oh God.
and is like, "I will eat you up."
So, because he's inspired, he cannot fall victim to his flaw for the next 24 hours.
Amazing.
I love it. So you see this kid.
Oh, sorry, end of the day, not 24 hours.
Yeah. This kid just grins right back to you, and he's just like, I'm gonna eat you up too, just like the whales in the clouds do. And then he just sort of like clings on tighter and kind of looks, and he's like, how am I doing this?
Oh my God.
Excellent. You see like 2 like old timers are sitting outside of a shop. Just, you know, one is smoking a pipe, the other one is rolling little hand cigarettes. They're clearly like in there, probably like one is like a 90-year-old human, and the other one you can see is a similarly aged tabaxi like figure. As you can see, this like really white fur around the face that normally has this really brilliant dark panther like color to it, that if you look closely in the light you can see some spots. And he just has kind of a cowboy hat dipping down with some scars from his own years of wrangling, and they just are both laughing hysterically at all of this, puffing out smoke. As you can see, they have a little radio next to them that's playing this music we're all hearing, this little bit of folk music. And you can see they are sitting outside of Felix's junk shop. Which, if you look at, is kind of like, it's got this like, it looks it's round, with just sort of like, it looks like someone set up a what looks more like a science fiction rounded metal sleek building, and then kind of like pasted an old Western porch on the front, and just sort of like nailed it on, put a bunch of boards on it. You can see the boards just kind of like make this weird amalgam of very poorly constructed attachment, with tapestries hung all over the place to try to hide where the wood becomes the sleek metal. As you can see, a neon sign up top that blinks. Felix blinks on and off as there's just this really loud, almost broken neon sound buzzing off of the junk shop part.
I don't like that.
Don't either. I want to fix that lighting.
Yes, I wish you would. That sound is terrible.
And tacky. So can I try to fix it? I don't like.
100%. You can
Bags.
climb on up and try to fix that.
Oh,
Okay, it is a lot. And yep, I'm gonna climb on up, and just from pockets that is not visible at all on the dress, she just takes out like these gloves, just puts them on so then she can interact with these wires, and it takes out some protective goggles, and suddenly she's just very professional in the zone, and she's going to fix this sign.
Give me a roll.
Okay. Gonna be using my sparkly golden dice.
ooh.
Yeah. Got a 13.
13. Okay. All right. So it takes you a few seconds, and you kind of like are connecting some wires, and Nora and Raylan and Alto from down below. You can just see at one point just sort of a huge glittering of sparks comes flying off of it. But then you can see like for a moment there, the neon just starts to get really bright and bright and bright. For a moment, you think it's gonna break, and then it all calms down, and you can see everything kind of just looks. Actually, you tell me what would you like it to look like now?
Well, just going to be like this perfect sign that's not flickering, and just, you know, just a steady like hum of that electricity that's not like overdone anymore. So it's just like, well, lifts up the glasses. That exactly why she had those protective kind of lips. Was like, all done.
Those of you down at the
Slides
bottom,
back down.
yeah, you would see this and then kind of like look down at the shop, and you could see standing in the opening entrance in the shade with these massive bubble-like sunglasses on. You see this what for all intents and purposes looks like an air genasi. Their hair kind of is floating up in the air like this, up in an undercut. The sides are all shaved. Classic blue skin of a genasi, air genasi. They've got a sweatband around the hair that is red and yellow. They're wearing a cardigan that is way too big for them, with a tank top underneath. That in the center it just says it just has like a checklist, and it's just coffee, all checked. And you see he's wearing jorts that come just above the knee, and sandals. Well, actually, I'm gonna say Crocs. He's wearing Crocs, and he's got a huge mug of coffee that you can see the mug is designed to look like one of those rock snails that they've been riding. And he's just got a cigarette sticking out of the corner of his lip, and he's just like looking out and just, yeah, I like that. I like that way, man. I like that way. What are you fucking with my shop for, man?
Trust me, you didn't. She made it better.
Looked broken to me.
Well, you know, maybe I like things to not be efficient and to use more battery power than they need to and be broken. Maybe that's how I like things. You know, I'm pretty handy with my own tools. I could have fixed it if I wanted.
Why on earth would you want your things to do that?
You hear the two old timers laughing at him, and he's just like, "You shut up, Jeff. Shut up. All right." You all, by any chance, my 1 o'clock?
Yes, we are. Minvela, let's go. It's time for the meeting.
Okie dokie. Takes off things and puts it in her pockets and slides back down.
Here, take these, please.
Yes.
All right, right this way. And you see he steps in through the tapestries that make up the door for this shop. And as you enter in, it's inside. It's got that same circular layout as the outside. In the center, you can see there is a concentric circle in there where it's clearly like that's the shop stand where he sits most of the day. For anyone who doesn't like a mess, this place is the messiest place you've ever seen. There is junk everywhere. There are parts all over the place. There are clearly critters moving about throughout the parts. As you can see, like a few Badland Weasels kind of pop their head up, and you can see these are strange creatures who have this gray fur that then transitions into these scaly legs and scaly lizard-like tail, and then their heads are long snoots, and all up the snoot down to the nose are eyes. They have about 8 eyes, and they don't have any teeth though. They pretty much gum things and get nutrients from whatever is like on the thing, so they basically eat dirt. And you can just see like one in the corner is just like sucking on a big old gear that's just rusted over. You can see several tapestries hanging from the ceiling. It's gross. You see a bunch of takeout boxes that are just on the counter. You can see like an instant like ramen kind of cup that's sitting there, and he's just like literally like aggressively flaps open the little piece of the table that opens up into the center and goes in and just leans against the cash register with his coffee. Who the fuck are you all?
I whisper to my sister, "The fuck did you get us into? This place is a disaster."
I don't like whispering.
Oh, good, I wasn't speaking to you.
You invited us here.
He opens his book and that's in front of him. He's like, well, that's an easy mistake. I just, okay, all right. I guess you're here for that. So let's be super open about it. This is a bit of what you would call well, no, it's not a front, because they do sell shit out of here. But no, like who you're meeting is really downstairs. So I just need to know who you are. Yeah, no, I don't deal with this, this politics and authority figures and whatnot. No, I'm just stuck here for a little while. I'm gonna be gone in a few weeks. But who are you?
Well, I am Raelyn Carr of the Valkyrie.
Well, fancy. That's a cool nickname. Cool title. It's even cooler prosthetic you've got there. Forgot to describe, he actually also has a similar prosthetic on his left arm. It looks a little jankier than yours. There's some loose wires hanging off of it, and it's a bit rusted. This character's designed to ruin Minvela's day.
I hate it. No.
And the rest of yous?
Go on for it. Hi, I'm Minvela Istanin Vorovana. It's a pleasure to meet you. Sort of, can I fix your arm?
There's nothing wrong with my arm, Minnie.
Oh, there's so much wrong with your arm.
Oh, there's absolutely nothing wrong with my arm, Minnie. You got it. You Arden.
Raylan's going to lean over and say, "Telling someone their arm is wrong is like saying what's wrong with your face. Don't do that."
It's all aesthetics and design over function with the folks around here. He lifts up his arm. There's nothing wrong with this. You just see just like these wires hanging. One just like sparks at the end.
There's going to be something wrong in them.
Minvela. I put my hand on her shoulder. I apologize. My name is Nora. I am her sister. And guardian, apparently.
Oh, okay. All right. So you okay? This is quite the look you got there. There's a lot of layers. It's kind of a hot rock here. I got plenty of junk here, just some old, more seasonable clothing if you'd like to purchase anything.
No, thank you.
All right, I'm just warning you. When you're out in the heat and there's the sun and you're wearing all black, it absorbs the heat. It's thermodynamics. But anyway, nice to meet you, Minnie and
cold
Nora.
shoulder the sun.
Oh, I like you.
What'd you
actually.
say? I missed it.
You can cold shoulder the sun.
Oh.
And then his eyes go over to you, Alto. I think I've heard of you. You're that hunk of junk that wanders around the prairie?
I am many hunks, all combined into one to create myself. I am designation Project Stormcloud, but my friends call me Alto. A great battle was fought in this place. Are you harmed?
Oh my god.
No, I'm good. As I said to Minnie over here, I'm function over design. But yeah, I can see that you're many hunks there. You're quite a hunk yourself there, Alto. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. And he's like he is still listening, like he is very much facing, but his arm is just slowly extending towards the nearest Badland Weasel, just trying to pick it up.
Oh yeah, and Badland Weasels are notoriously bold creatures that have no sense of self-preservation. So it just like one just sort of like sees like you work out in the prairie, so like you have, you know, mingled with the nanobots fluctuating, you've got like just like dirt and other debris in there, and you see it just sort of, its 8 eyes they all get really big, and the irises all go big also, and it just and then it kind of crawls at first, but then abandons all sense of preservation and just leaps up, and it just like puts your as much of your hand into its mouth as it can.
And yeah, Alto is just facing forward, but it's slowly rotating and just trying to pair up as many Badland Weasels with as many takeout containers as he possibly can. Just like spinning in a circle, just trying to get them to their meals.
Oh my god. I know, I want a Badland Weasel real bad now.
Lizard possum.
Yep, lizard possums. So yeah, so you see Alto is just covered in these weasels now because they're coming out of all over the place. And you see Felix is just like staring at him. Hey man, always gonna eat that still. It's still good. Those are not. It's not garbage. Nothing in here is garbage.
Oh, apologies. They are extremely old.
Just old don't mean bad. Just ask Jeff out there.
Ah, yes. Shut up, Jeff.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, my name's Felix. I'm not from here. But
Really?
yeah. All right. And you see he just sort of takes he puts the coffee mug down, he takes his robot arm and just smacks the cash register once really hard, and you can hear the bell rings off and a few keys come off of it. And you can see he immediately steps out of the way, as you can see the inner circle of that space now kind of like the it's really like as sophisticated as, or as gross as everything is. The machinery here is still quite sophisticated, but you can see this is just like a very simple like mechanical lever that just slowly pulls the very decorated rug out from behind there, exposing a latch that he opens up and presses a button, and it just sort of like the latch kind of sinks into the ground, or the doorway sinks to the ground, and you can see just forming kind of like almost kind of similar nanotechnology as Alto, and then steps form and it descends down in a spiral. Oh, well, your real contact is waiting for you down there, so go ahead and proceed.
Just don't look at it, Mabela. Just focus on a point ahead of you.
Okay. Okay.
He very intentionally waves at you with his mechanical arm, and as he waves, every time every time the wrist moves, you can see sparks come off of it.
Oh, I'm gonna have a fit. I'm just gonna link arms with my sister, just immediately just like, okay, let's go.
Alright, let's go pick a point.
All right, have a good adventure.
Thank you, Felix.
Shut up, Felix.
Yeah, you shut up too, Alto. And as you descend down, you can see behind you the nanotechnology closes back up, and it's only dark for a moment as lights kind of blink on from the sides of the steps leading down. You can see it's kind of a dim light here, but you can descend down, and eventually it leads into a small office space where you can see the walls are lined with books. It's basically just like that library wall aesthetic, and it goes up like the entire length of basically the descension that you did. Like this entire basement is just filled with books. You can see a lot of those rolling ladders that large libraries have. And you can see in the back of the room there is just sort of a very plain desk. Minvela and Nora, this is different from Virion Core stuff that you've experienced in the past, but it feels like the same level of like lavishness. Like this person might not be Virion Core or like them, but they spend money the way Virion Core spends money. And you can see there's behind the desk is a tall plush red chair. You can see there whoever's there is just sort of stoking a fire on the other side. And you can hear like the radio upstairs seems to play down here as well, emanating through the room, kind of giving it a strange dichotomy of this rich, fine room and this very red dirt folk music. But as you approach slowly, you can see the only light in this space is really coming from the fire. Nora, you get a real old world vibe from this. As the chair swivels around, and you can see a very friendly smile beneath a fluffy gray mustache, as this most grandpa of grandpas turns around and looks at you all. As you can see, he has sort of like disheveled hair that looks like it was probably combed this morning, but he's been working so hard that he doesn't really care about it anymore. And you can see just sort of kind of comes down in a part, flops on the sides. A very big button nose. You can see they have like a nice, a perfectly beige button-up shirt that's underneath a collared green sweater vest with a no tie. It's just kind of open a little bit, with some nice tan slacks and brown shoes. As just this warm smile radiates from this person as he just looks to you all, kind of standing up quite fast and quick for a man of his age. You all must be the folks that expressed interest in the job. If communications are right, we've got Nora and Minvela over here. And he looks to the two of you. We've got Raylan, quite the warrior, right here. Well, no one spends any time around here without finding out about Alto. But welcome. You all come here because you have some interest in helping out the people here. I myself, I'm not really a local of Sonder, but I've had particular interest in this place for a while, and let's just say the folks have charmed me during my stay. But what do you all know about the Virion Corps? What is your experience with them?
Alto's kind of body language changes quite a bit at that, and he shrinks backwards and looks a little sheepish. They are quite unkind.
That's putting it lightly, especially when resources are involved.
I cast a side glance at Minvela, and then kind of with the just go with it look. Not very much at all, actually.
Well,
I've heard rumors, that's about it. The name's popped up a few times and not in kind terms.
well, that sounds about right. So I imagine while you were here, if any of you came from off drift, you would have seen them as your cloud ship came in. Those rocks up in the sky that they watch down on these people. Big old engines on them. Well, they're looking to take advantage of these people. And even worse, they're looking to find some unsavory things in those geothermal wells. Now, out there, down in the past the prairies, we got the Badlands to the north, but we have particularly the Uga hot springs to the south. some of the strongest and most volatile geothermal wells. Varian Corps taking control of one of those wells. Bribed the foreman and somehow got past the mayor and their authority. Probably more bribes or corruption. And they're setting up shop around there. We all preferred it when they stayed up in their rocks, but now we're seeing more and more of them down here. The prairies have seen some of them wandering about, looking all suspicious. Now you all have some skills, whether it's with guns or blades or magic. And what I need you to do is neutralize whatever means you need to the Varian Corps in that geothermal well, and if you can, find out what they're looking for down there. I'm a man of history myself, and anything from the old world is certainly an interest. You know, I don't got no connections to the Varian Corps. I don't got no connections to the Willow Varian Corps, nor do I have any connections to the Willow Accord or the Gregarians. I've got no loyalties other than to preserving history and maybe every now and then sharing it with good people. So if that aligns with your prerogative, I think we can work together.
I think this will work out, yes.
I don't remember from the advertisement, but was there some sort of compensation for completing this job?
Well, in the advertisement, I said that it would be a bit of a discussion. I'm curious about what you want. You know, I could offer up currency, I can offer up whatever, but if there's specific things you want, though I may not be bound to authorities, I know quite a few. What are you looking for?
Well, I know my sister here would very much enjoy having a workshop of her own. So, the means of starting that or finding some place where we could establish that would be a start.
Well, that's something we can definitely work out. Oh, Felix up there, he's a bit of a brat, but he's going to be leaving soon if he finds out how to hell off of this world. But when he ventures out, I'm happy to help you retrofit that up there, clean it up a bit, turn it into your own space.
A lot.
Yeah, as long as you would agree to work with me, because I'm pretty enrooted here, if you catch my drift.
Seemed like a lovely fellow, so I don't have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
Wherever she goes, I go, so.
You too.
Simple, favorable introduction to the higher-ups around here would be helpful to me. Simply so I could be of assistance in those areas as well.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of a corruption to root out since the Varian Corps came here, but seemed like you might be able to help out with that.
I'd like to try.
And how about you, Alto?
I'm looking for insight or information. I fear that Varian's proximity to me may negatively affect my connection with them. I fear they may root out my original purpose. I would like to sever that connection entirely if possible.
Yeah, well, we've got ourselves a bona fide genius over here. These girls. But once we get that workshop set up, then maybe that's what we can work on. If you're looking for insight and knowledge, well, kind of looks around and points across the room. We've got no shortage of that here. I'd be happy to help you find more.
This is agreeable. And looking over at the group, any insight or information from the geniuses I would be in your debt. And then seeing everybody's like pointy ears, Alto's on the side of his head, just 2 little pointy ears grow out.
I love it.
So much.
Why is it that anybody who remotely resembles Data, I'm just like,
Yeah, right.
I protect you?
Must protect.
Must protect.
One thing I wanted to mention on the way in, but I forgot to. The other two wouldn't notice, but Minvela, you would have seen as we were walking down and seeing all of these books in the library. Like, to the other two, my expression didn't change at all, but you saw my eyes light up because Nora loves to read.
Oh, yeah.
All right, then. Well, if there's anything of import that you need before you head off towards the Hooga Hot Springs, tell Felix I told him he has to help you. When you get down there, so you'll move through the prairies to get there unless you want to do some climbing on the bluffs to get up there, but it's easier just to go through the prairies and go around. It's up to you. I don't know what your skills are when it comes to climbing. I mean, if you might be able to get Felix to help you out with something there. Just be a little nice to him. He's a bit sensitive. But when you get down there, there's someone who's going to be looking for you to help lead you to the right geothermal well. They're also going to be able to give you a little bit of a detail about the Virian's presence there. He arrived recently to this place. Said he was sent by someone who, someone I used to know a long time ago. But if you're looking for him, his name's Red. And, he might be accompanied by a dog. Don't be surprised if the dog talks. Be a bit mouthy. This seems like an agreeable accord, and I'm very pleased to have you on service. Neutralizing that threat of the Virians there and returning that well to the people is what's important. But I would be lying if I didn't say I had a greater interest in what's in those wells.
Understood.
Right. Any other questions?
Looking at my sister because she is always full of questions. Now's your chance.
Let's see here. Do those books stay here
Usually.
when Felix leaves?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. This will remain my office when Felix leaves, so these books will stay. These aren't his books. Felix doesn't like reading. He says the words are all jumbled in his head.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I have many questions, but about the job itself... I think we should talk about that, because, well... we would be able to climb fairly easily. What about you two?
What y'all might want to do is generally talk about your strengths and weaknesses. You can understand what you're all bringing to this party, how you can help. I got some reading to do myself, so I'll leave you all to some privacy here. Excuse me. You see he steps away and it does a good old-fashioned pulls a book and a door opens. And then walks away into another room, and you are alone.
Before you go, I don't believe we caught your name.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Oh yeah, well, you can call me Seymour.
Seymour. All right then.
See you more later.
You see, he really genuinely guffaws at the the pun, and he's like, "Yeah, I've never heard that one." And then steps away. to talk about your party.
Well, good to get to know each other. So, as I said before up there, I'm in Vela, and I'm very good at technology. I absolutely love it, and I'm always creating new things. And well, other than that, I'm very sneaky. I'm able to work with the whatever situation that we go into and kind of go in a bit unnoticed, which might be surprising, but trust me, I can. And I'm able to find out information. So I kind of look over at Elto. I can definitely help you once we have the right tools.
This is very exciting for me. In terms of my strengths, this form is very malleable. I can become many things. So climbing or flying or swimming, quite easy for me. I'm very good with animals and plants. But I'm, although hearty, not especially good with violence. I am afraid that too much violence would unlock the true purpose of my creation, and I'm looking to avoid that at all costs.
And that's entirely fine. While I prefer to leave it as a last resort, I am quite efficient in matters of violence if needed. I'm afraid I'm not great at the sneaking and the climbing, but if we want to get more information, I have ways of having people speak truth, so to speak.
That's excellent, and it's quite all right that you're not that sneaky, because I am also very sneaky. I also happen to excel in forms like this, and I will use my scintillate ability to create a harmless firework that just, comes in, boop, 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 just a couple of fireworks. I also, I'm able to sometimes look beyond what is here. I can also make people be afraid. And as well as my sister can attest to, speaking without actually speaking. I can speak within the mind.
That would be quite helpful. So, in this matter, do we want to take the approach of the long way round, or would climbing be preferable to those here? I personally don't have anything to help with climbing, but
I'm sure Felix does. You saw the junk he had lying around. He's got to have something.
True.
And if not, I can make something.
Also true. She is quite good at it. And I'm very proud of you for not beginning an icebreaker when we met these people. I know you tend to do that when we meet new people.
I wanted to so bad, but I was so distracted and frazzled by Felix.
I'm very proud of you for your self-restraint.
Yes, I feel uncomfortable. It's like I can feel a storm cloud above my head. So, as soon as we can go, I'd like that.
Alto, who has maybe been looming over you, just kind of steps back a little bit. Apologies.
No, it's okay. Yes, I can make you, and like she pulls out a grappling hook. I've made this. I can make one for you.
if we go that route, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall we then?
I think we shall.
All right, so you begin to head back up the steps. As you get to the top, you see the nanobots open up the passage again, and you see immediately Felix trips into it because he was standing on top of it and falls kind of like down on it and almost rolls into you all. And he's like, oh. You're supposed to knock. You're supposed to do some kind of knocking. Well, this is my favorite spot to stand.
This is not our establishment. How are we to know that?
Good. Common courtesy. I hope you had a good meeting with Seymour. He's a nice fellow, isn't he?
Yes, he also informed us that you are to accompany us, or you're to help us with whatever we may need.
What?
Sorry, did I stutter?
Oh, Seymour.
I believe the term is you've been voluntold to help us.
I'm gonna give that old man a real piece of my mind. What do you want?
I mean, it's probably because you're the only one who can.
You're not wrong there.
So it's not a terrible thing to be needed.
Yes,
It's pretty
well,
good.
we
It's
really
pretty good.
should be getting on. Should be getting on. We were told that you might perhaps have some instruments. Minvela, you're better at this sort of thing than I am.
So, we're going to be climbing up something very big. And so, I don't know if you already maybe have a, like, takes out grappling hook, like...
Are you looking for a grappling
Little-
hook?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want something that can shoot that thing out there?
Of course.
Okay. All right. And as he looks around, you look around, and like the room has drastically changed. Like in the 10 minutes that you were down there, like almost like he's transitioned to work hours now. It's still a mess. The place is still a mess, but you can see there's this like oven top over in the corner. You can see there are like at least 12 different things boiling over, different alchemical projects all over there. There's just like steam and smoke. You can see Badland Weasels are licking up whatever spills out onto the side, and you can see one of them kind of just like, and it just starts to like inflate, and it just starts floating up. And you can see,
safe?
and you see another one jumps up and grabs its tail to try to keep it down, and they go flying up with it. And you guys, it's all non-toxic. It's all good. They're actually really useful for keeping things clean around here, as long as you don't mind weasel spit. But
I do not. Alto's covered again.
But one second, you see he wanders over to one of the well, there's no corners, Sean. You made a circular room.
One of the curves.
In one of the curves that is covered in detritus and
It goes to the
mayhem.
35-degree angle.
Yes. And you see he starts to dig through stuff, and you can see he's like attaching things together. Like you can see like a lot of his junk is all modular pieces. And you see he's just all right. And then you can see he's even like pouring little like serums onto things, and you can see it like cleans up the metal, derusts it, or just makes things look a lot nicer. And you see he comes over and he just like slaps it on the table, and you can see while it's clean and not rusty, if you're design minded at all, it is ugly as fuck. And he's like, yeah, this you got can I see that? Do you mind if I take a look at that hook you got there, that grappling hook you got?
You're not going to change it, are you?
No.
Insight
At
check.
all.
Insight check.
You don't need it. You do not need an insight check. He is being mischievous.
I'd rather not have my own designs meddled with.
Fair. That I understand that entirely as a fellow artificer of goods. Excuse me. And you see he goes to a different angle of the room. And you see he's digging, and you hear him go, "Fuck!" as he pulls up a rusty grappling hook, and you can see just like a big old gash on the back of his hand. He's like,
Oh no. Does he have tetanus shots nearby?
That'll really wake you up in the morning, afternoon.
You're supposed to grab it with this hand. And she puts up her prosthetic one.
He looks at his own and he's like, oh, that would be the smart choice in the pokey pile.
Oh my
he's
god.
like, I've got piles. I know where everything is. This character's me.
Is me too.
Yep.
As you guys saw me before stream go wandering under that desk to find a notebook.
We just organized that
yeah, I
last
know.
week.
But
Yeah, that was last week. A
Yeah.
lot has happened since then.
Yep. He drops it on the table, and you can see there's a rope on it, a well-made rope, and you can see he just immediately his hand comes together and forms into a little blade, and he just cuts that rope. He's like, oh, we don't need this. We don't need this at all. And then he takes his gun and he puts the grappling hook into the top, and he's like, all right, now there's a demonstration. Now I want you all to stand over here. I'll shoot it this way so that safety. And he waits for you all to move out of the way, and you can see you can see he's looking around, and you see for a moment he gets lost in the fantasy of just he's holding the gun, and he's just like, and then he spies one of the nooks up above. As you can see that where the hut comes up to a circle in the ceiling where you can see daylight coming through, and he just fires it up there, and you can see it shoots the grappling hook up, but you can see the rope that was cut. There's no rope there, but there's now kind of this prismatic energy rope that goes with it, that shoots up, and it hooks on, and he just starts to walk around the room with it, as it just gets longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, and he's just wrapping it around his arm. He's like, no limit on length. As long as the battery's fully charged, and you can see checks the back. It's not, but if you walk, it's everything around here is powered by the sun. So if you walk outside, he kind of goes to another pile and pulls out this thing and just jams it on the top of it. And you can see this little voltaic solar cell that is now sitting on. He's like, just make sure you keep this out while you're walking, and it should be fully charged by the time you got to climb. At least 75%. As long as you got charge, you got rope.
All right. We are also going to be going into an area where there's multiple people. I'm assuming that we would probably like to avoid. Do you have anything that could possibly either incapacitate or distract a decent group of people?
Oh yeah, I got several things. It depends on what you're trying to do. I got this, and you see he goes under the desk and pulls out, for all intents and purposes, just looks like a boombox. And he goes, you set this up wherever you want a distraction, and you just he kind of takes out another remote. He presses a button, and it just starts blasting music. And it is at the end of the day, quite literally, just a boombox. He's like, this is a real great distraction. I've used this several times to get out of a tight situation. But I got a few other things too. He's like, I got some, smoke grenades. Let's see. Got some cussive grenades. This is what is it called? I forgot the name of it, but this one, if you throw it, it's just gonna start bouncing around all over the place and hitting people with just basically a super bouncy ball that's just gonna hit all of them. I think a chaos ball or something. I don't remember what it's called.
You're probably.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
Good.
I was gonna say.
No, you go. I'm done.
I was just going to say, so you may hate this question, but can we just take all of it and bring back what we don't use?
I like this idea. You did say to help us, and that's what help us.
You have my word that if we don't use it, it will be returned to you.
Perhaps.
Wait, what? Oh. He looks at Alto. He's like, you hear that, Alto? I've got her word. I've got her word, man. That's that's solid, airtight insurance for all of these expensive goods that I've made out of unique materials from across the Omniverse.
All this time, my words have been currency. This could have solved me many problems.
That's not the lesson. That was sorry. No.
Oh man.
I have learned many words recently. Would you like others? Spatula, apron, whisk. I took a baking course.
Yeah. That's quite apparent, buddy. Well,
And as every word he says, he like picks up a concussion grenade and then like picks up a smoke bomb.
you see, as Felix is being a bit of a bitch, a circle kind of like opens up behind him on the floor from the nanobots, and you see Seymour just kind of comes raising up out of it with a fresh cup of coffee, and he just slaps.
He also did not knock.
You see Seymour smiles at you, Raylan, and goes, that's not a policy. Felix here just he tends to forget things when he hasn't had enough coffee, and that we're trying to help here. And Felix is just like, fine, it's yours for now. But your word better be worth, a couple thousand credits, okay? Okay?
That is fair. On top of it, for letting us use it, I travel quite a bit. What if I send you coffee from each region that I come to for the next 3 years?
My goodness.
Kind of looks over at Seymour and looks at you. Maybe I'll stay a little longer, yeah. He's like, using different varieties of bean
I
from
can
across
send
the
it
drift.
to you wherever you are. So we'll just keep in touch.
Okay. All right.
And pals.
And you see, he just kind of like pushes it across the way to you all, as you have 5 smoke bombs, 5 concussive grenades, which will incapacitate someone for 5 minutes, and you have a everlasting solar rope gun.
I lean over to sorry, go ahead.
And that one chaos ball. Need to look up. It's an actual quest item.
Oh, cool.
I don't think
I
it's
have
called
the
chaos
chaos-
ball.
I have the Chaos Pearls. Is that what we're thinking of?
Is it the one that when you throw it, it just bounces around and hits everyone?
No, I think Astrid had that, and I don't remember what that was. Let me look real quick.
Yeah, if you want to just real quick look through. I know it's, but yeah, you've got these items and
Chaos Ball.
Chaos ball. I was right. Chaos ball. Excellent. All right. So as you take on all of these lovely, lovely items, you is there anything you want to do before you depart to go out to the bluffs, climb up to the Huga Hot Springs?
Alto just leans in and goes, emulsify. That one is a tip. And then heads back outside.
You hear from behind you. You hear Felix go, yeah, you don't want to break your sauce. You're gonna have to start all over then, and that's just gonna waste a lot of time, and you're gonna lose all that flavor.
Aha, nothing is free, it seems.
Okay. Anything else?
Before we go, Raylan is going to pull out her field monitor map, and she's just going to ask it about anything, because I think it's very limited, but any interesting trivia about the hot springs area.
Okay, and can you read me the description of the field monitor map again?
Yeah, so it just says magic map produced by Guild of the Cartographers. Each map is designed to provide information about a specific region of the world. You can ask the map questions about major towns, cities, or landmarks in the region it covers. Magic ink then appears on the map, showing information on your result. And it says, I can ask the map for any of the following, and one of them is an interesting piece of trivia about a town, city, or region. The rest
Excellent.
of them I don't think are very helpful.
All right.
At this point.
Okay, absolutely. So you ask the map for any interesting aspects of the Huga Hot Springs.
Mm-hmm.
You would see the letters kind of like peel out over the map as you would hear a voice come out of the map. That's kind of like it's just kind of like those advertisements for travel channels and stuff. about locations, and it's just like the Huga Hot Springs, a tourist attraction of Sonder. Not many go due to the danger and long journey that takes to get to the outer drift. But those who do go get to bathe in the lovely hot springs around the geothermal wells. Though choose right, because one hot spring will kill you, the other is just beautiful relaxation. But be careful even further, because the area is known to be rife with earth elementals, fire elementals, hot air elementals, and steamy water elementals. Sometimes they make their way into the prairies because they are attracted to solar panels and other battery-powered things. Travelers through the area must be careful with any battery-charged items because they will try to eat them. Please be careful on your journey to Sonder, particularly the Huga Hot Springs. Relax away and do not die.
That's wonderful. So after reading that, I will turn to everyone and say, we need to be very careful with the grappling hook gun. Apparently it will attract multiple types of elementals in the hot spring area. So just know that is a hazard that we may run into.
Okay.
I would like to pull out my dim grimoire, which says it's a magic notebook that's risky to read but can provide great benefits. So I guess I'm looking at it to see if there's a way that we can cloak the fact that we have solar power items or anything that might help us escape the notice of these elementals.
Okay, go ahead and give me a d20 roll.
Oh shit, I don't even have dice out.
Really, Shannon?
We need one dice.
You
We
beg
need
me
one.
every week to use real dice.
What? You've ruined me because we have to use the digital dice. So,
Well, enjoy it. What'd you get?
Get a one.
4.
You got 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so... Okay.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Alright. Oh yeah, so yeah, you don't even get a choice. It's just I choose between the two bad things.
Oh no. Okay.
Alright, so...
Is it 5 that I have to get to choose?
It's 5 through 10 you get to choose between two options, and then 11 to 20 you succeed, or 11 to 19, 20 is a triumph. So while I'm thinking about what to do here, could you give us a description of what this grimoire looks like and what you reading it looks like?
Sure. So Nora likes to travel light, so she reaches into the pocket of one of her cloak, and she pulls out a matchbox-sized little notebook. But as soon as she pulls it out and holds it in her hand, it magically comes to regular book size. And for whatever reason, I have the book from Hocus Pocus in my brain, so it's like this kind of like flesh-looking brown paper, like leather-bound book, and it has, instead of an eyeball, it has a nice little like a gem that looks like an eyeball. And she just, it looks heavy, but she holds it with one hand with ease and just delicately turns the pages of it, looking and seeing if there's potentially anything useful.
All right, and the description of the item is it's risky to read from, but it can be beneficial. Okay.
And provide great benefits.
So as you're reading it, as you're looking through, you can see like the pages. There's some little notes from previous things you asked it about, and the book is generally, usually you have pretty good experiences with it. Occasionally it'll talk to you, and you hear the book just go, "I don't think that this was a very good question. I think that this was a bad question." And then suddenly the book closes, and covered across the entire spine of the book now are little voltaic solar panels.
Well, shit. That's not what I asked for at all. Really? Is there anything you can do about this? I say to my sister, exasperated.
I can use that as an energy source. I just take it and I just start like hooking it up to like some of my little things.
Oh yeah,
like power them up.
I'll absolutely say that it will have greater. Your abilities will have greater effect because you're using this.
It's just a power port now.
Just a big power brick. Yeah, plug all your cell phones in.
Anybody need a charge? Anybody low?
Before we go, I'm going to use an action point to
Okay.
do my ability of disguise, and just in case we need it, like because Felix talked about like clothes around, like I'm gonna go over to that and I start taking out from all my secret pockets just gloves again, and then all of these tools to where I'm going to start making varying core clothes to disguise us in if we ever need to move stealthily through them.
Absolutely. And you and Nora have knowledge of that, so you could definitely do that. Are you trying to make a disguise for each of you?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a d20 roll. Because of the book of charge you have now, I'm going to give you advantage.
Yay, okay.
Bullshit.
I got a 12.
Oh yeah. All right, so that means that you have succeeded. You all have roughly varying disguises where you can look like a I imagine you have one of you maybe looks like a Virian shock soldier. Some of you look like Virian officers. I imagine Alto looks like a Virian automaton that is not self-aware, but he at least looks like one of the ones. Excellent. Or at least you have that ready to go. I have to put it on now. Excellent. Any other last minute preps before you make your journey south?
Just one question. So I know when I looked up Chaos Ball, it takes 3 action points to use it. Would it be the same for the item as well?
Yes, it would be.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
Mm-hmm. I will double check that during the break, but I believe so.
Okay.
All right. All right. So as you gather all these things, it's probably late afternoon now. You're going outside and you see people are coming home from work out in the prairies. You can see several children running up and hugging their parents, coming back from the solar fields and the prairies. And they all begin to head to their lovely little homes for their lovely dinners honoring the great horned long whale. As they all, you see people coming up and seeing all the ornaments that have been put on their family's tree from their neighbors, and they're all getting excited and people talking and each other. As you set pace to leave town as they all come home. And that's where we're going to take a break. A quick 5-minute break, and we'll be back. And when we're back, we will see what the Huga Hot Springs have in store for our heroes. Thank you, folks, for hanging out with us. Stick around a little longer, and then even longer after, because this is a long weekend stream. But please consider donating to a great cause, St. Jude's Play Live. But we will be right back, folks. See you in a little bit. Back, everybody, to roll for damage and our 48-hour plus a few extra hours, I think, if we really add it all up, charity stream to support St. Jude's Hospital. We encourage you to please consider donating. There's a link in chat to where you can donate. And if you can't donate, that's okay. Just please consider sharing the donation link with those that you know in your network, just to spread the word. We've already raised $796.50. It would be really lovely if we could hit that $1,000 goal. And I remind you, donate $40, and you can designate a wild card to be played, where I determine an unknown effect. $20, you could
also
offer
donate.
in-game assistance to our players, and just use hashtag and their player names. You could do hashtag Nora if you want to offer some game assistance to Nora. $10, you can give them a free reroll, and $5, you can give them 1d6 inspiration to add to their roll. So consider donating, consider helping these folks out as they're about to head into the real danger of the session, and we'll have fun. We'll have some fun. All right.
As a side note, for anybody who doesn't know Quest, a 6 can make a huge difference here.
100%. 6 can be the difference between your special magic book turning into just a power brick charger and
Getting some secrets.
Exactly. Excellent. All right, so you all begin to head out of town to hike towards the bluffs that lead up to the Huga Hot Springs. Alto, you're quite familiar with the general area, and Raylan, your map has a general outline of how to get places. So as you're moving about, you can see it takes you maybe a little while to get closer to the bluffs themselves, and you can see, the sun begins to slowly set, and you can look back and you can see light emanating from Sonder and from the tall cloud port that goes up from Sonder. It's interesting because you're basically looking at this kind of like somewhat ramshackle small 2-road town, and then kind of like bursting up from it like a spire is this large elevator that goes up into the sky that then has these several sort of docks up there that you can see. There's just one ship there. There's not usually many more. It's probably the ship that brought any of you off drifters here, and you can just see those blinking lights in the distance. And as you ascend kind of a little bit higher, you finally get to kind of the hillocks that lead up to the rock face of the bluffs themselves. So you can look up and in the setting sun see the fumes emanating like pillars into the sky from the geothermal wells. But you've reached the Huga Hot Springs Bluff, at least. Up above is where the danger really is. What would you like to do?
Oh, do we climb for it?
Yeah,
Suppose.
take out grappling hook.
I'm very grumpy because my book has been turned into a power cell.
You can hear the book
It'll turn.
mumbling under Minvela's bags and different things she has, and she's kind of hooked it up to all of her technology, and it's just sort of hear it mumbling. When the binding's closed, it can't really talk. The binding has to be open for it to really. You just hear.
Oh, shut up.
It will eventually turn back for you, won't it?
You can't tell with this type of book. I'm a little too irritated to try again, but I can try in a little bit.
You know, at the very least, that when you ask a new question, they typically, if there's a bad effect that's happened, it usually will reverse, especially if you
Usually.
get a real answer from it.
What if I ask nicely?
That can
Can I
help.
get advantage if I say please?
Maybe. Depends on how sincere you are. The book can tell. Okay. Well,
Right, so we're climbing, yes?
Uh-huh. 8.
okay.
And let's see if this uses... Oh, it does not use an action point. Yep, I'm gonna use my feather hook, so it sets a magical grappling hook, but I don't do anything magic. You just take out this grappling hook that just unfurls out just all everything and just shoots up. So
Excellent. So you see this fires up, and you can see the cliff face of this is a pretty jagged cliff. So the ability, the feather hook, is that just sort of like an auto hook kind of thing? Could you read the description real quick?
So, a magical grappling hook that gently glides itself upwards like a balloon.
Oh, I love that, actually. You can see you fire it off, and it like it goes fast for a little while, but then it kind of like slows down, and instead of just falling straight back down, you can just see these little like these little like hot air balloon almost like come unfurling out from the hook from little compartments on it slowly, and then they like kind of unlatch and float up into the sky as it gently lands right where you wanted it to land, right where you aimed it. As you can see, these little hot air go and dissipate into the sky. Okay, so imagine there's gonna be some climbing now.
Are there any like plants, like any roots coming out of the rock walls or anything?
Yeah, you can see for sure in disparate areas. You can see some harsh roots kind of sticking out. You can see a few. If you observe and look around and scan for it, you can see like there's just some general roots, but then you also see sonder bulbs, which are a particular kind of vegetation here, where most of it is inside the wall itself, inside the dirt, but it sticks out this little crooked root that kind of swirls, kind of like a pigtail, until at the end you can see this large bulb where it's the fruit of the plant essentially grows, and it's this very vibrant yellow that occasionally you can just sort of see it kind of undulates. As you can tell, that it has like a pretty sticky juice inside of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Alta would use Command Nature and kind of lean down to one of these roots. I have to read a poem for this one to work. So he leans down and he says, bloom and grow very tall, catch us in case we should fall. And the little roots would just start to grow out a little bit with those sticky bulbs, able to just like stick his hands onto them and just try to use them to climb up.
I absolutely love it. So you would all see the and thank you so much for the raid, Agent Number 1. Much love to you, Kieran. It's so good to see you.
Thank you, Kieran.
So you see these roots, they do definitely come out further, and you can see more of them kind of just come out to like, because of the poem you read, they just come out and start to like keep an eye out almost. You can see they as you all start to climb, you can see them coming out beneath. But you could definitely use the sonder bulbs to climb more effectively. So I'd like everyone to give me a d20 roll. With advantage because of Alto and Vela's efforts.
19.
I think it's advantage.
Twins.
Hey! Yay!
I got a 15. Thank you for that advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 10 and a 1, so I'm.
Oh no!
Advantage. That would have been the end of old Alto.
No.
All right, so Alto, your difficult choice is so you can choose one of two things. You can choose to either fall and take some damage. You're not going to fall all the way to the bottom because the plants are there. They will catch you, but you would take damage. Or the other option is you can fall only a little bit, but you land in its effort to catch you. The sonder bulb, the bulb at the end bursts and covers you in the sticky serum within, which when the sun sets has a slight glow to it and might make it difficult for you to stealth in the next part of this. The damage, or you're sticky and have some trouble stealthing.
Oh, I definitely got to go with sticky, I think. I think it works so well. They grow out a little too enthusiastically, and so he just like face first pops one of the bulbs all over him.
Absolutely. So yeah, so the rest of you are kind of like climbing, no problem. You're close to the top, and you just hear a bit of a commotion down below, and you look and you just see Alto just kind of like, you can see several vines or roots going to try to catch him, and you just see one just like catches his leg, and you can see like his leg like disforms and then reforms, and then you can see him. He's kind of does like a quick like fall, and where like one foot like where several of these bulbs just burst on him, and then just finally the last one's right in the face. As you all get to the top, and slowly you see Alto pulls himself up, and he's covered in this sticky serum that is very, very difficult to get off. And you can see as the sun is setting, is starting to slightly glow.
Oh.
I have gotten sticky.
Ooh. And glowy.
Yes, the sap is amazing, quite bioluminescent. You can spot it from miles away.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly the opposite of what we want here.
Oh,
We're trying to sneak.
Is Alto up with us now, or is he yelling at us from the bottom of the
No, he's up
cavern?
with you now.
I'm going to grab some dirt from the ground and try and see if it sticks to the stickiness on his arm to see if it covers up the glow.
If you, yeah, go ahead.
Can I aid her? Can I aid her and like help like use some magic to like bring the dirt up and like covering spots that she's like, working together essentially? But I don't like to get my hands dirty.
Oh, I see.
Magic.
So yeah, this is no rolls needed. This is a creative solution. Just get the robot dirty. You'd have to really get him.
Is this okay, Alto? Are you okay with this?
Oh yes, of course. The dirt
Okay.
is wonderful and will be good for my new friends. And kind of like opens his robe, and one of the
Yes.
weasels is like,
Is this an eating or a get me out?
Bowl.
Probably.
Probably a little bit of
A
both.
sprinkle
But
situation.
you see
Or kid
the
on those toes.
you actually see the Badland Weasel is like clinging to the nano parts, but then you can see it like it was clearly like just like licking and suckling at the dirt on Alto, but then like once he got covered in this sticky sap, you could see the creature is covered in the sap, and its fur is all like sticking out, like it has hair gel in it, and its scales are all slick, and you can see its tongue is stuck to Alto, where it tried to eat some of this sap, and it's just like stretching its tongue out like a cartoon character.
Amazing.
Alto is trying to help, but he like pokes at its face, and then his finger sticks to it, and he's like, oh dear, oh no.
But yes.
All right, maybe it's best if you don't touch anything explosive for the next while.
Oh yes,
Just
I
to be
make a habit of
safe.
this.
Okay.
But yes, you are able to at least conceal the bioluminescent glow with enough dirt so that Alto won't be spotted from literally a mile away.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay. So what you see before you now is you can see the tall pillars of smoke that comes from the geothermal wells. There's kind of like a loose swamp in front of you where you can see bubbling pools. The vegetation here is quite aggressive, you can see, where any kind of bushels are really just these kind of twirls and twirls and twirls of brambles with very sharp barbs all over it. There are kind of amongst these large barbed fields, there's also these kind of upright palm-like trees that shoot out of the earth, and you can see like the spines of them, the trunks of them are just straight up spikes that shoot out, and they're just sharp at the top, and they themselves are covered in barbs, and they have kind of like, as it gets to the top, it curls out, where you can see kind of long stranded almost palms, but there's still a spike sticking out of the center. And you can see these things just sort of like go like this, trying to catch anything. You can actually see a bird flies by one, and you can just see and it seems like everything here is pretty hostile and probably carnivorous. And you can even see these pools. There's two types of pools. You can tell the difference because they're distinct color difference. You see pools that just have a nice gentle steam coming off of them. The water is a light blue color, and then you see pools that have that like rainbow acidification marks that go down into the center. Pretty easy to tell which pools are no-go pools. Currently, you don't spot any elementals yet. And you know that somewhere within this tree line, there is your contact is probably looking for you. And will probably find you soon. But is there anything you want to do currently while you're prepping to go into these spiky woods?
I just want to keep an eye out for people we're supposed to be meeting up with.
Mm-hmm.
Person and the dog.
Yeah. I would say as you're waiting for quite a while. It's the first hour goes by, and you can kind of see the sun is beginning to completely set. Out in the distance, you can see as the nighttime comes over this space, you can see from this height across the way, you can see the Ardora Badlands, and what you see is this very interesting like reflection of the stars above in all the solar panels there. It's like a sea of stars over there, and then occasionally just these blinking lights that all blink in unison, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them, all blinking this one little red light. As you can tell, these are the turbines and the wind farm there. It's quite the sight to see, especially as you look down and see the little tiny beacon of light that is Sonder in the middle of prairie lands down. So what are you doing?
What's everyone's favorite color?
Oh,
Ice break.
I'm gonna pull all of the all of the grenades out of my packs and be like, "Do any of you want some of these?"
Yes, please.
You have to promise to give it back if we don't use it. I swore.
Okay. And I'm 100% crossing my fingers as I say that.
You'll give them back. Yep. So we have 5 smoke bombs, 5 concussion grenades, and 1 chaos ball.
Take one of each of the bombs.
I would love the chaos ball.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Absolutely. Does everybody just want to take one of each of the bombs, and then we can give the chaos ball to Minvela?
You're not going
Have
to
one of
want to
each?
do that.
Shush.
Remember what happened.
Yeah,
last
Alto
time.
just takes one of each of the bombs and just sticks them to himself with the sap.
Amazing.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can get those off later.
Minvela, give me a d20 roll real quick.
Okay.
Oh no, that's not a good face.
Yeah, it might have been a 1.
Ooh.
Quick, someone
Yeah.
donate.
Oh, quick, somebody donate!
Anything!
Yeah, if someone someone
Donate,
donates
save my ass.
a quick d6 or a reroll.
Please, 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 please.
Okay. Minvela. All right, everyone, you're handing these all out, and Minvela gets the Chaos Orb. She's super excited about it. She asks you all your favorite color. There's a nice little situation. And Minvela, what would you do with that immediately? What's the first thing you would do with the Chaos Ball? Would you put it away in one of your bags?
I would have put it away in one of my secret pockets in my dress.
Yeah. This is when you, as soon as you put this Chaos Ball away, this is when you you feel sudden like a lot of heat coming from your secret pockets. And it's getting hotter and hotter, and to the point that it hurts. And when you look in there, you would see that there is a small, probably, say, a kitten-sized magma elemental that has been just sort of like, and when you open it up, you can see they are just licking the voltaic cells on the book, and you can hear the book is like.
Do we see this?
I'd say you see it.
I mean,
you
if
see
she
it
does
at this
that.
point. So I want to still give you a choice here, because the negative, the one is to the fact that there is an elemental on you right now, burning your belongings and eating the book.
Yeah.
But I want to give you a choice of two things. One, the chaos ball goes off immediately. Just affects all of you. Is one choice.
I would like to be ragdolled by the ball.
The other choice is that the magma elemental licks the book vigorously enough to disable it, so that it can't be used for 24 hours by your sister.
Well, I'm not gonna do anything that is bad for my sister's thing, so I probably set off the ball.
Oh no.
Okay. If someone could read me the description of the chaos ball, please.
I got you. It is a ball that... it is a small elastic ball that bounces chaotically, shattering small and fragile objects. So,
Okay.
are our bombs small and fragile? Oh no! I think they are!
Freaking... Like, our contacts are gonna just find us just, like, on the floor.
So,
Oh god.
I will allow the other three of you, if you have something you want to try to do to prevent your grenades from going off, you can offer that up now, and we could do a d20 roll for them. The other thing about Quest is that there's exponential victory and exponential failure. That happens as you keep trying to do things to stop bad things and do things to do good things. All right, so what do y'all want to do?
Can I use my magic eye and gain the ability to see beyond physical reality and see if there's fucking something like I can do? As in, like, I might be misunderstanding this, but I'm seeing it as like a like I see different timelines.
Can you read the
Or-
description for the ability?
You briefly gain the ability to see beyond physical reality.
So that's more so for seeing things that are like invisible or
Invisible, okay,
or ethereal
all right.
than it is timeline things.
Okay, then not that.
Okay.
Can I instead? I don't know if timing-wise it would work, but use my scintillate to launch a streaking bolt of sparks to this little magma elemental and just be like, no, to try and stop it before.
No, because of the critical failure is what prevented you all from stopping this from happening. So
Okay.
I like where your head's
Well,
at, though.
can I push my sister out of the way then?
I will allow you to try to do that to prevent the ball from damaging any of the... Because Minvela has grenades also, right?
Everybody does.
Everyone does.
Yep.
So I'll allow you
Everybody
to attempt to do this to stop Minvela's grenades from going off, essentially. Yours will still go off.
It's fine. I would like to use magic to shove her. What's your ability? The telekinetic shunt, telepathic shunt thing?
Temporal shunt?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Roll me a d20. The other two,
You
what would
got
you
it.
like to do?
I'm going to. Alto looks over at these big Venus flytrap angry plants, and is going to use Command Nature again, and just say, "Hungry plants, hear my words. This ball is tastier than a bird," and try and get them to eat the ball while it's like flying around.
That's beautiful.
Also, give me a d20 roll. And Raylan, what would you like to do?
I am going to use an action point, and I'm going to cast shield in front of me,
Nice.
Nice and
so
easy.
that there's just a physical thing between me and this ball.
Yes, okay. Not even going to ask you to roll for that, Raylan. You are protected from it. Your grenades do not go off.
Okay, it can take 3 hit points. I don't know if that matters, but then it disappears.
Okay. I would say it does get used up by this, the three
Fair.
points.
Fair, yeah.
What did you get, Nora?
19.
Okay, you are able to protect your sister. She does not get hurt by this, and it also does not trigger her grenades. I'll narratively talk about what happens to you, though, after I hear what Alto got.
You got it.
I got a 12.
Okay. All right, so Alto, your grenades do not go off. So generally this is what happens in this scene. A little magma method essentially is just sort of licking away, and the heat coming off of it, you can see like Minvela, as you're putting the orb away, you see it, and you can feel the orb is start to shake violently as the heat is kind of propelling it and feeding it, and then just suddenly it just sort of and it just starts to bounce around wildly through this space, and you see your sister immediately kind of twists some magic, Scarlet Witch style, I imagine, and just sort of pushes you to the side, protecting you as you see, Nora, you hear an immediate click as you can see it hits at your waist, and you can look and you just see the pins out of your grenades there, and you're just like, you have like, you could say one word.
Fuck.
Yeah, as you see the smoke one goes off first, and there's just psh, and for a second you're kind of like, all right, it's just smoke, and then as the concussive grenade goes off and your ears pop and you're painful, and you look around and it's all just ringing sounds as in like and there's a flash, and your eyes are also kind of flashed, and you're just looking around as you can see Alto reading out a poem, and you see this kind of nano shield comes up, kind of creating different cells going up that gets shattered but protects Raylan. And then you just see one of these trees just sort of, the ball is heading straight for Alto. And you see this tree just goes... you're stunned for the next 5 minutes as you're recovering from this. You all would look and see the tree is just like... before settling down, as you can see the magma method slides out from Minvela's coat and just starts to almost like drunkenly pull itself away, as if the voltaic cells have intoxicated it. And as this is pulling away, you can look up and you can see two larger elementals moving towards you slowly. You can see one is an earth elemental. As you can see, it just sort of like is this slopping pile of mud and rock that undulates and rolls. It doesn't really walk, it rolls. And as it rolls, it like reforms, and like gas gets released and pressure gets released. And it's just like as it's coming towards you. And then you can see the other one is kind of this steam elemental. You can see it kind of like wisps off of one of these acidic pools, and you can see it just sort of like a gyrating tornado of water droplets and steam and other things, and it's just sort of like you just hear a loud hissing noise as it's coming towards you, all of them bounding towards Minvela. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna roll an initiative essentially to see how you're gonna deal with these elementals coming towards you. Go ahead and roll a d20.
I just caught a big bug in my room.
I was wondering what was going on there.
I know,
Like,
there's a very big, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it was freaking me out.
it came to play.
No. Just a little...
I am the magma muffet.
Yeah.
All right, 20 to there's no 20 to 25 because there's no modifiers. 15 to 20.
I got a 16.
Okay. 10 to 15.
15.
Oh goodness, this is intense music. Down just a little bit. 5 to 10.
9.
9.
Apt with the music that's playing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And Minvela?
I got a 2.
The good thing about
no.
initiative
Lying on
rolls
the
is they don't have the whole difficult choice thing. They're just for accounting purposes.
Accounting purposes.
It's true.
Laying on the ground.
All right, so for quest references, so for those at home, quest doesn't use distances like 5 meters away. It uses up close, in range, and out of range. These are in range right now, and on their turn, they're going to be up close. So they go first because they rolled a 9.
Wonderful. Always a good start.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are these is combat like D&D in the fact that it's 6 seconds per round?
There's not really a fast rule about 6 seconds. It's narratively looser than D&D.
Okay.
So while things are all happening at once, it's looser where we aren't really saying. I think it does say that like somewhere that like a rule of thumb is 6 seconds, but we're gonna be a little loose with it. So if you feel like there's something you want to do
for the stunned purpose.
Oh yeah, well I'm gonna say I'll give you a reroll. I'll give you a roll on your turn to see if you break out of it, and you all can and you all can help her. Like you can help try to unstun her if you have something that you think can do that. Okay. So, the Earth Elemental is striding forward, and it is gonna go for an attack on Minvela. It does not succeed. As you see, it kind of rolls up.
Over.
Yeah, it rolls. And I legitimately, like, it goes to try, because essentially you can tell that this, like, mud earth elemental, its form of, like, consuming things is just rolling on top of them and consuming them.
No!
And you can see, and it does have a feature where it can engulf you. But it does not succeed as it kind of tries to roll onto you, but you roll away and it rolls a different way and it just sort of lands away from you.
Amazing.
The steam elemental, though, is going to go for a ranged strike on Raylan as it sees this like shield that just went down, as it shoots a jet of hot steaming water at it. Does not succeed. So the water kind of hits the last bits of your shield, and it just takes down that last bit as the water comes splashing. You do feel that intense heat, though, from the steam hitting you in the face. Your eyes water a little bit. Alto, you are up. Nora, you're on deck.
Alto, seeing that things are going into a confrontation, is like visibly afraid and kind of standing back and looking at his hands and trying to stay calm. But you do see his normally like the gold lines that are running under the dirt are starting to flicker and turn green, and as they do, I'm going to use 2 action points to use Storm Call. So the sky above him, his nanobots start to sheathe off and spin upwards above him and form these storm clouds above his head, and he just says, no, please, stop. And that's what he's going to do this round as he moves backwards and tries to keep himself under control.
Okay. Does the storm clouds have any effect right now, or is that just what's happening currently, favor-wise?
I can spend more points to have them do things.
Oh, it's summoning it, basically.
After. Yeah, so it's just summoning the clouds for now.
Perfect. The thing I like about playing Quest 2 is, like, I don't know all of the abilities. Like, I know a lot of D&D abilities, so I'm very excited any people use abilities.
Okay.
All right, Nora, go ahead and give me a D20 roll to see if you could break out of this this stun. Raylan, you are up next, and then
15.
All right. You, because of the danger you can see your sister is in, as you see this earth elemental almost roll on top of her and engulf her, you kind of like use your magic to just push out and refocus your senses, heal your ears and straighten your focus, and you can see this earth elemental in front of you.
I was about to ask, is that my action?
No, you get your turn.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see the earth elemental in front of me. All right. I would like to flavor-wise. Well, actually, it doesn't matter because it doesn't cost action points. From each of my hands, scintillate a streaking bolt of sparks right towards that earth elemental.
All right, excellent. Go for the attack roll on that.
3.
Okay, so as you see those scintillating lights that string out from your hands, they go and they strike at the elemental, and you can see it definitely like hits, and like you can see like mud splashes off and like solidifies to dried rock, but the elemental just sort of it has no reaction. There's no face on this thing; it's just an undulating mud pile, and you can see like as it's moving, you can see sort of like bones can be seen as it's just like has been basically ooze eating everything. But it is an earth elemental. They do kind of like all focus on Minvela though because of all the technology she has. All right, Raylan, you are up. Minvela, you're on deck.
So, with my knowledge of elementals, I'm assuming I know they're not creatures that can be reasoned with, correct?
Yeah, they're not typically. They don't have necessarily. They're all urge. They're all instinct. Yeah. Especially in this form.
This is a point where we must choose violence. And you see her stand forward, and she will simply put her hand up, strike it down, and say, "Stand back!" And as she does that, thunder will strike out from her. Speak a word of power, thunder shockwave in direction of the facing, knocks up to 3 creatures backward and hits them for 2 damage each. Creatures affected are briefly dazed and cannot use special abilities during their next turn.
Excellent. Yeah.
I assume I need to roll for this one.
Does this cost action points?
Yes, there's 2 action points.
You do not need to roll for it then if it costs action points.
Sweet. Okay.
This just affects them unless they have some kind of resilience to it. But you said it's thunder damage? Or it's described as thunder? I know
it's thunderous damage that hits them for 2 damage each, and then they are dazed and cannot use special abilities during their next turn. And as she does this, you see she turns from this like gentle regality to this more barbarian-esque stance. She goes back into her soldier training rather than her diplomacy.
You see the thunderous damage definitely does more to the earth elemental as it starts to lose its form a little bit as the sound waves and thunder waves hit through it.
We may have to ditch the batteries. And that'll be it.
Excellent. All right, Minvela. So they're pushed back. So I'd say the steam elemental is now out of range from attacking you with range, but it will be in range on its next turn. And the earth elemental is just sort of like plopped over now, a couple yards away from.
Okay, I'm going to quickly just get up, take the book out of my bag, hand it to my sister. Please talk some sense into your weird book. And then I'm going to go to my, you know what, I'll go, this will be a sacrifice, but I'll sacrifice it just to be in a better situation for us. I am going to, like, probably take, I think, I have what's called a blink pack. And I think I'm going to take that and basically, like, turn the switch to kind of, like, turn it on, basically, because it has, like, all these secret compartments and whatnot to hide items. But I'm just turning it on to, like, have it do, like, a power flare kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, one of my strongest things that I have. And I'm going to use it as a decoy and just, we're still by the cliffside.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Go get it. And I'm going to throw it.
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
just a beacon of food
love
for them.
that. So yes, you toss this big old pack, this blink pack, and it's, you know, its power is surging. You toss it off. Conveniently, it's the elemental's turn next, and you can see the steam elemental really notices this and is gonna go straight after it. And you can see it kind of zooms through, and you could all feel that wave of heat hit across you before you could see it. It looks like a ghost, like a spectral ghost, as it crawls across the earth and pulls itself off the edge. You can just see it crawls off the edge, essentially, and goes down after it. The earth elemental, though, does not go after it. For one, its movement is not prone to help it go after it, and so it just says, "There's food here," basically in its head. But you did get rid of one of them. Is gone.
He's good.
All right. So the earth elemental cannot use special abilities on its turn, so it can't try to engulf you, but it is still going to try to attack you. Okay, and that is going to hit you, Mandela. So you're going to take 3 points of damage.
No.
As you just feel yourself getting kind of like battered around, as this thing is trying to engulf you, but it can't because its abilities are not working. It's a little too dazed still. So you're just kind of getting, you feel it kind of rolls over you, and you feel just sort of like rocks and hardened mud and just sort of bash you around a little bit, and it's definitely painful, but it rolls over you fine and does not try to consume you entirely. It's quite frightening, though, because as it's rolling over, you can see just sort of like bones sticking out of it. You can see, like, at one point, you just see a skull that's in there.
Extreme.
Yeah, it's quite a frightening creature. But it just sort of... And it just sort of reforms, almost as if it's turning around, but there's no face to really turn around. As it's just going to try to roll over you again, but this time try to consume you. But that's the elemental's turn. Alto, you are up.
How many creatures are left?
There's just the one earth elemental.
Okay. So I think Alto, this green is starting to encase his body now. And his posture straightens up. And his voice changes as you can see him sort of like twitching now as more of these nanobots sort of file up into the storm clouds, which start raging harder, as he says, "These resources stand in opposition of Virian interests." And then lightning bolts start to strike out of the storm clouds, just like striking at trees and the ground, and one of them streaks into the earth elemental, dealing 4 damage.
Okay. The elemental is definitely looking rough right now as you see this bolt of lightning hits it, and it just sort of like splatters out mud and other things. You can see these arcs kind of moving all about this elemental, as it just sort of like, you just hear it just sort of bubbles up for a moment and then reconstitutes itself, and you see it just turns and looks to Alto now, who's this beacon of energy, and it's just sort of like voraciously like, this is a feast. As it will be Nora's turn now, with Raylan on deck.
Okay. How many action points am I allowed to use per turn? Is it just like one ability?
I believe you can use however many you want. But it's typically one ability. Like you can't use like all of your action points to do all your abilities. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you said this thing is looking rough.
Definitely rough.
Excellent. All right. So you'll see as it's attacking my sister, I'm going to like stand up, and as I raise my hands to go and do scintillate again, my eyes turn completely black, and I just say, "Get away from my sister," and just like scintillate it, hopefully hitting it and killing it. Hopefully. 16.
Okay. How much damage does that do?
It doesn't say. It just says to harm an enemy. So all of it. It's dead.
The game said so. The game did not clarify. Ergo.
That's true. That's true. What does this look like? What does your scintillating lights look like?
What does it look like? I can choose in the moment what I want it to look like. So the fireworks were super colorful and fun, but the scintillating streak that goes out is like a mixture of black energy and mixed with like purple and green, and it's just like crackling like lightning and just like scary as fuck.
Okay.
Go away.
So narratively, what I'll say is it kind of goes in. You can see it. The energy of it kind of like fluctuates as it hits into the elemental and kind of booms out, dealing a little bit of, well, I'll say for this is thunder damage in the way it reacts, dealing extra damage, but not quite killing it.
But I told you it does it all the points. It's dead.
Standard weapons typically deal 1 damage. I had you deal more. Okay, Raylan, you are up.
So you see her, Raylan, start to go for one of her blades and then changes her mind and grabs just a normal looking sword. And she will rush in and she will just make a regular strike on that. Ooh, that's a 4, so that's probably a no. And now I'm close.
No. Yeah, no. So as you go,
see her, she just get too excited and goes in, and she just, when she goes to strike, she just, for some reason, swings a little bit wide.
Yep. But as you swing this sword with a 4, that is a guide chosen difficult choice. So you swing it, and you can see it does connect. It is wide, but it connects, and you can see as you hit it, your body reacts as if you were going to keep going through it. So you kind of like lose a little bit of your stance, and you can see the mud kind of wraps around the sword, and you kind of like have to pull it until you pull it out, and you can see the metal has been mostly eaten away, and the blade now has disadvantage on attacks with it, because it has been corroded away. And if you get a that 1 with it, it'll shatter.
Break. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Minvela.
Okay. Vela, stop screaming. It's like, you want energy? Fine. And she is gonna take out what I've reskinned this magical staff as she takes out this kind of steel rod that then she presses a button and it just elongates out, just twists, snaps into place, and these 2 prongs come out of the top as she now has basically just this big old taser rod.
Yes.
And she's just going to stab it into the
I love it.
elemental. See how this goes. It's a 14.
Hell yeah. All right. How do you want to kill this thing?
Woo!
She just sends out this big wave of just electric energy that just like causes it to just stiffen and kind of like seize up before probably just blooshing out.
Absolutely, yeah. You see as the staff goes in, and you can see it's like the electricity is surging through it. You can see the entirety of the creature is vibrating. And you can see the mud kind of has that ferrous fluid kind of like vibrations and patterns going across it. As you could just hear this, as it just sort of, it all comes to a zenith, and it just sort of, and you see mud flies everywhere, rocks go flying everywhere, bones everywhere, as you're all kind of covered in this muck. And I'm gonna need Alto to get 20.
Also, I will instinctually protect my arm, knowing what happened to my sword. I will just turn to keep it behind me.
Come on, Alto. Oh no.
Oh no, Alto.
Oh, no.
Someone donate.
I'm muted. It's a 9.
It's not. It's a choice, right?
So, let me refresh this real quick. I've gotten donations since.
Okay.
So we do have a few helping hands. So we have a pool of we have a pool of 2 rerolls for anyone to use. And we also have a helping hand that you can use as well. So it's up to you. In this case, you might want to just use a reroll, but there is that helping hand, which I would say the helping hand is kind of like an auto success in this situation.
I'll just use a reroll if that's Oh, that's way better. 16.
Okay. Okay.
Phew.
So
Thank you all.
So Alto,
Thank you, friends.
for your reference, and you
you.
can tell us what this looks like. For a moment there, your programming was going to completely take over, and you were going to essentially the Virian programming would say these individuals are threats, and you would have felt particularly felt the programming saying that you need to capture Minvela and Nora and contain them till Virian officials come, and to kill Raylan. But as you feel this programming, suddenly your Alto starts to come back through Project Stormcloud. So what does this look like?
So that storm above is just like raging, and I think he turns, like seeing that the Earth Elemental is gone, he turns to you now, and you can see that his form is no longer skinny and lanky. It's starting to bulk up and even get little spikes, like his ears turn to like ram's horns, and then spikes start to shoot out of his back as he turns around and says, Virian fugitives identified. Threats elimination protocols active. And I think all of your, like the hair on your neck and your arm starts to raise up as like crackling starts to move across the ground. And at the last second, I think maybe the weasel in his coat sort of tries to escape and like jumps in front of his face, and where the lightning would strike down, immediately all that green just sucks into gold again, and his form just becomes tiny, and he flings his arms, and 3 bolts of lightning just strike harmlessly off the edge of the bluff. And he very gingerly picks the weasel back up and puts it into his robe, and just sits on the ground as some of the nanobots start to swirl out of the clouds and reform back into his body. And he says, I'm very sorry. I lost control.
What's going on, Alto?
This is my original purpose. Virian created me to create storms like this, to destroy green infrastructure, to make their products more valuable. This is the connection that I'm trying to sever.
Do you feel guilty about that?
Very much so.
So Raylan, at that point, will walk forward. She'll put a hand on each side of Alto's head and touch her forehead to hers. And she'll say, Alto, in the name of forgiveness, I ask for solace and peace, for I am the example of regret and redemption. And I will cast forgive on you, so you no longer have that guilt in you. It is gone. I will use 3 action points to do that.
Nice.
Yeah,
I hope that can help you.
Alto, I think, like, for a moment, like, almost melts into, like, a puddle. Like, he just becomes liquid, and it's just, like, a puddle with a little straw hat on it. And as the weasel, like, runs and moves the straw hat, you just see, like, the gold has formed into this, like, contented, happy face in the puddle. And he just says, your words are indeed incredibly valuable. I think Felix owes us even more than he gave. Thank you.
We're all on a road to redemption. For something. Just know as long as you're better than the day you were before, you'll get there. And I'll just turn and walk.
Absolutely.
And Alto reforms and stands a little straighter now.
Raylan, as you're walking away from Alto, you would notice kind of like there's like one last elemental that seems to be kind of crawling towards you all. This one looks like another magma elemental, but much bigger. And the magma elementals seem to crawl with their hands as they drag behind themselves a spew of obsidian and lava that melts the ground behind them. And you can just see this face melting up and reeling up, and you can see almost for a moment you think the fight's not over, as then you just see sort of this massive concussive shotgun-like explosion just blows that face of that elemental to the ground as they all cools.
Oh.
As you can see, standing behind it is just this very, very large gentleman. He has a massive gun that has to be held kind of with a handle on the top that fired this concussive blast. He has this poncho-like shawl over him that has these beautiful, beautiful knitted patterns all across it in a light beige, almost pink brown, and deep, beautiful reds. He has very, very dark tanned skin with clear scars across his face, and a scraggly but long beard, and this long, slightly curly hair that goes all the way around down to his back, and these very distinct scars across his neck, but also a kind of like tight necklace that comes down around it that has this box at the end. And you can see he has this massive backpack on his back, and you see popping out of the backpack is a head of a little corgi that shakes its head, and you see it has a similar box necklace on its neck, and it just goes, "I think we arrived just in time. Don't you agree, Red?" And you see Red, this big behemoth of a man, just sort of smiles and smirks at you all, and then comes walking forward as you see this little corgi hops out of the bag, jumps on his shoulder, and then leaps down and comes walking up to you all and kind of does a little scratch behind the ear. And this is, "Hello, my name is Oscar."
It's nice to meet you, Oscar. Red? Oh, found them.
You see Red doesn't really speak, and you can see he looks down to Oscar and signs to her, and she looks up. And yet Oscar's voice would come out as a feminine, womanly voice, and she just goes, "Do any of you speak sign language? Red prefers not to use his voice box." Does anyone believe their character would speak sign language?
I
Based on their
feel
backstory.
like with our upbringing, we would.
Probably.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you guys learned it to talk to each other when others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Argue across the classroom.
But Red is very clearly a mute and can't speak. Oscar just sort of looks around to all of you. "You were sent by Seymour?"
Yes.
That is lovely. And you see Red signs to the two of you, saying essentially, "We need to move quickly. We have a lot of information for you. There's only one opportunity to get this done."
I'll sign back and say, "Is there somewhere nearby that we can go?"
And Red would grin and then sign to Oscar saying, "We can go." And Oscar will say, "We have a hideout nearby. We are particularly good at making hideouts, keeping under the radar." And she leaps up into one of Red's arms, and he kind of lifts her up to snuggle into the backpack, and you can see her little corgi butt kind of shakes as she slowly adjusts, and then her head pops out and the arms go on Red's shoulder as she's kind of just panting, and she goes, right this way. And Red will turn around, put the gun up on the shoulder, and start to lead you to where their hideout is.
John's trying to kill me with cute animals. I don't understand.
As we're
I'm
walking,
gonna.
Oh, so go ahead, Kelsey.
No, I was gonna say that I'm gonna be walking really close to Nora. So.
Yeah, and maybe we've linked arms at this point, and Sean, as we're walking, can I try and talk to my stupid book again and try and make it not be a
Yes, you
power
may.
thing? Thank you.
You can also make like another request, like you can actually ask it something to potentially gain something here.
Yeah. Okay. As we're walking and seeing how kind of nervous Minvela is, I'll just look at it and say, all right. Is there any way that you can provide some sort of warning when danger is nearby? Any type of warning so that we can have a little bit of a heads up?
Any type of warning?
What do you mean by that?
Point of clarification. Any type of warning?
We not maybe some sort of a vibration that I can feel it, so you don't make any noise and you don't give off any light.
Roll me a d20. We have one reroll, and we do have one assisted auto help.
12.
A vibration it is. And you see the voltaic cells they all just sort of turn to black shadowy mist, disappear.
Excellent. Thank you. Put it away.
It immediately begins to vibrate in your robes.
Would you put your Nokia on silent, please?
As you hear in your head, that plant over there is dangerous.
Oh my goodness. Hey.
And you look, and you would actually
Might be more
see,
specific.
you actually see ahead of you, there are these, what look like flat bushes, actually, like where like, it's just like 12 flat, long, arrow-shaped leaves. And you can clearly see in the middle of these leaves is just like a pile of goo and bones.
Clearly that is something dangerous.
Do
I
not
meant
step
something
on that.
I meant
It's so
something
big.
like yeah. This is Shannon not being specific enough.
It's perfection is what it is.
Watch out for those trees.
Virian core, will you let us know if there's Virian core nearby?
Roll a d20.
Please.
This is my favorite item.
It's a 1.
Oh no.
Just gonna warn us about Alto.
You got it. You got it exactly. There's a Virian core automaton right next to you. Please be careful. And it's shouting this right now. Virian core presence detected. Virian core presence
chuck
detected. Virian
Throw
core
it.
presence. So your book goes flying, and it goes flying, and like it's out of like range, and it just struts up as soon as it lands out there, and you could just faintly hear the buzzing out there as it's still following your your command about.
It's like the one Jurassic Park movie, Finding the Phone.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I've held on to that book for so long. It's been nothing but chaos.
And Vela actually smiles now.
It's not funny.
I think it's pretty funny.
I promise you, I mean you no harm. Despite my display before, I believe I have that under control.
You
You're
said
fine, Alto.
fugitive.
Yeah.
But also, even in my other form, I did not want to harm you. You are wanted by Virion.
Can't imagine why. Can you?
I think you two are smart enough to know why. And I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't know, so why don't we just put everyone on the same playing field on that one? I don't care if that matters. I just would like to know. That's it.
Insight check.
So maybe we were,
Vela.
we're child geniuses that were maybe raised by Varian.
Oh, God.
All right.
There it is.
Good to know.
Which is part of why I think I can help with severing Alto, because I have experience with their technology. So.
All
I
right.
would let you get your hands on it.
Yeah,
But
We're
yes.
not with them anymore, though, so.
Oh, that's... Life finds you taking different paths along the way. Not everyone is happy with where they came from. Matters what you do next. Doesn't matter to me that you were there. It's where you want to go now.
See, Ori, if you just trust people a little bit more, like you can make friends.
I just look at you, and without even saying it, Nora. That's what my face is.
You see Oscar's head pops out of Red's bag. She goes, I am also a fugitive of the Virion Corps. They did terrible experiments. Granted, it gave me, or at least unlocked my intelligence. But I can help as well. Right, Red? And Red just kind of grunts. Kind of gives out a guffaw. People, I've found, are not like trees. You are not bound by your roots to be stuck in one place.
We all grow and change.
We have a mission, don't we? We need to be getting on.
Yes, that's right. That's why Hecate sent us here. To help. And you continue walking, and Red will eventually lead you to a space where you can see what in front of you, what basically just looks like just absolute mess of detritus and brambles and trees and just a collection of greenery, essentially. And then Red kind of comes up, and you can see he just holds his hand onto it. You can see there's a little light underneath his hand, and then you can see these vines kind of open up. You can see inside is just a little bunker, basically. You can see some little like lanterns. Lance.
Lance.
Yeah, that's what they call them in this world. You see some lance.
Short for lantern.
Classic science fantasy. Just save the syllables. Save the syllables.
Exactly. It's basically looks like just like a straight up camping setup. You can see there's like a electric stove in there. There's a nice floof of a bed for Oscar, and you can see a very simple cot in the corner for Red, where you can see he has this little small kind of like chest, a travel chest. You can see has little carved animals in it. See little penguins, little giraffes, little elephants, large snails, and then just sort of a carving knife and some raw wood there as well. But also you can see kind of clinging to the rooftop of this bramble bunker are dozens and dozens of little moths with varying wing designs that are all just sort of like creeping and crawling. You see some that are in their little chrysalis that are hatching. They seem to be a part of this kind of brambled netting that hides them. He just sort of holds a hand out to let you all in.
Your home is beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Oscar. A gift from Hecate. She's not from here. It's from Hestia, a different island chain. You may have heard of it, but it's a lovely place. Keeps us hidden from Virian Corps. We don't want anything to do with them. And you see Oscar hops out of Red's bag, and you see she rushes over to her section. You can see there's a little record player, and you see she just snoots the button to start it playing, and you can see it's connected to this large battery. As it starts to play this smooth jazz that you're hearing right now, and you see she just, little dog head, was nodding back and forth with the eyes closed. As you see Red kind of like drags a table over, and kind of, you see he puts his hand back on the bunker and it closes up as you come over. And he drops down a map that you can see kind of then brings up this 3D model of the Huga hot springs. And you see he points to a specific geothermal well and signs to the girls, this is where the Virian are. There are a lot of reinforcements. They are concentrated in the lowest level of the well. They are trying to break into a chamber down there.
Sign back. Do you know why?
We assume there's some kind of technology or old magic in there that they're trying to access. So far, there's no sign of higher-ups, just goons, and a few scientists. They're all concentrated on that level with a few guards above. They've sent all the workers home without pay.
Of course they did.
Just because the higher-ups aren't there now doesn't mean they won't show up, so we need to move quickly.
Yeah.
You know how many are in there?
I'll translate.
Well, you can hear.
Oh yeah, as soon as
No,
I said
yeah.
I
We
kind
could
of assumed
translate
you were
what he said.
translating to us
Exactly,
what he
yeah.
was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, totally. Sorry. He would basically say at least a dozen guards, 2 scientists, 1 mecha, nanomech. And he kind of looks over at Alto for a second, then back to you all. 12 guards, 1 nanomech, 2 scientists.
It's a lot.
There's at least 6 of the guards are in the lower chamber. The rest are dispersed above.
I'll be able to get us a full blueprint map of the building itself once we're in there. I have a little thing that I invented, so I can help us find the most direct route that we need.
I can create a distraction.
You hear Oscar talks as she's kind of bobbing her head. She opens one eye and looks over to you all. You're not wrong. Soon, the higher-ups will arrive to ensure whatever they're searching for is found. Can't let that happen.
If we take what's in there, will they leave? Do you think?
They may come after you.
at us than the well that the people need.
This is true. Whatever's in there, they're desperate to find it. They don't...
Apparently I'm the only one not wanted by them, so I might as well get myself on the list.
You see, Oscar's like jaw drops to give that like dog smile that happens when they're panting. Good company to be
Killing
in.
me, Smalls.
Cause she's cool.
Well, if you're not hated by the wrong people, then what are you doing right?
Red gives you a sign and says, "We can distract whatever guards are at the opening of the well to get you in, to help you get in. After that, you're on your own."
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Are we?
Can I want to use one of my action points, and if Alta will let me, I want to use some of my tools that I have. So it's called bricolage, right? Improvise one of 4 useful devices using everyday objects nearby, and it's gonna do a thing. I kind of want to like make something, if possible. You can tell me if it's not, to like kind of interfere with like transmission from like Varian Core to Alto, so then maybe like he can keep more of his senses while we're going through here. So then,
Yeah,
kind of almost, yeah.
I like this idea. So I will have you roll a d20 for this. Remember, we do have one reroll left, one helping hand left.
Okay, let's see how this goes. It's a 14.
All right, excellent. So with Alto's permission, you're able to craft a device that will interfere with any Virian frequencies or Virian efforts to reestablish your original protocol. So for this, what I'll say is you have advantage on any rolls that might determine if you lose control. So yeah, you'll have advantage on that.
Thank you. And I think when you're working with Alto, you get a better idea of what's going on with him. And you can kind of see that his personality and his self-awareness is actually from a computer virus, but it's a fungal growth that has moved through all of his nanobots that has given him this. So it's like an organic virus that is inside the nanobots themselves.
Interesting. Ah. You should definitely keep on working with plants.
You two really are geniuses. I see why they want you back.
You see Red kind of smiles at this, and he goes, and you see he sits on his cot and he grabs the piece of wood and begins working on his wood carving again. Mr. Oscar looks to you all and says, "I think you should all rest for a bit. Then we will head out to the geothermal well."
Do we have time to wait?
Just a little
Pirates
bit.
don't like to wait. Right.
I am quite hurt. I'd like to.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can take a rest, which, for the purposes of this, I'll say you all get 1 action point back, and if you took any damage, you are fully healed. Up to 10.
But if you were fully healed and didn't use action points, can
You can go above 10 action points, so you have 11.
Nice.
Okay.
Not like the rest of us who are like, action point, action point, action point.
And Nora's just like scintillating lights everywhere. It cost me
My
nothing.
free stuff's not useful.
Saving it for the big fight.
Okay.
I think my class is just built to drain out my action points.
You would see as you're waiting, Red is clearly carving the horned great whale out of wood. But eventually the record stops playing. No, that is time. Get a going.
Get it going.
Get a going. Another expression in
Get it go on.
Okay.
Are you feeling better? Talking to my sister.
Yeah. A lot.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. I'm all ready to go.
Okay.
So, as you all are walking out, being led by Red, you can kind of like look back up into the sky, and even in the night sky, you can see clearly like the burning engines that are beneath the floating islands that the Virian have orchestrated here. It's just this threatening presence that you're just waiting to see a ship flying down from this area as you're moving. Rambling. You would reach a clearing where you clearly see that a lot of the bramble has been cleared out in probably a 50-foot perimeter around the well. You can see the central. It's very small looking from the surface. It's just sort of this rounded opening to the well that is severely reinforced all around it, and then you can see kind of like normal typical fencing and infrastructure around it with a clear entrance. It's not deeply reinforced as far as like the actual infrastructure, but you can see the Virian had established some infrastructure around it. You can see a barbed wire fence all around with a very clear entrance area. This barbed wire fence where you can see a machine that anyone from off drift would know is meant to have workers pass through, and it immediately disables any unauthorized items that they bring and identify if they have. But there's no workers here at this point, and you can just see 2 guards at the opening to the entrance. You see Red kind of just looks to a lot of you and just signs, "Are you ready?"
Let's go.
Yeah.
He looks back over his shoulder at Oscar, just gives her a scritch on the head. You see she immediately ducks down in. The flap goes over to protect her. As you see Red starts to sneak down. See he sneaks up to the edge of the wired fence. See he's doing something. He has some tool that's cutting it open. You see he sneaks underneath. And you can see him slowly walking through kind of like what looks like little like temporary housing tents that were set up for workers. And you can see he looks back to you all, nods, and then you can see he takes something off of his hip, tosses it into one of the tents, and you could just immediately see it just sort of ignites into flames. And you can see him positioning himself back into a corner. You can see the gun being charged up. You can see those 2 guards come rushing over towards the worker camp. This is your moment.
Those 2 part of the 12?
Yes, they actually would be.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
So very clearly, like they're completely distracted and gone, so you can rush right up. Basically, you get through the fence where Red made a cut, and you can kind of just wrap around while they're entering into the camp. You get to the door of it, and it's just in plain double doors that workers will go through. And that's when you start to hear some of the gunfire back in the tents. What do you do?
Is the door locked?
The door is locked.
Oh.
Not for long.
Yeah, I know. I could spend 2 action points, and I have a needful key, a
Yeet.
magic key that can morph to fit
Nice.
for any luck. So,
Hell yeah.
just
What does it look like?
whoop.
Exactly. Boop,
So,
boop.
so is this like a key or is this like a card key?
I imagine it would be a card key, but it would work with this ability still.
Okay. So she kind of looks at it, and instead of taking out like a key, she takes out this little like thin metal and like a little tool that kind of like sparks, and like she like holds it to the thing and just kind of sparks it, and the metal of it kind of like moves and morphs to align with the reader, so then it can work with it. That's how I imagine it.
Absolutely. You see the green light comes on, you hear the lock undo, and you can open the door and head inside. All right. So, are
We
you
will close the door behind us.
There you go. Yeah, you would kind of hear the fire raging out there, and you hear that loud concussive blast from Red as the door, and you can hear it like seals, like a vacuum seal, and no sound comes through. As immediately in here, it's this loud cacophony of just sort of metal parts, just like. As you can see, kind of like it's dark in here, and there's just sort of these warm red lights from certain areas. There's a rounded hallway that goes all around with 4 entrances at certain points. You can see one ahead of you that leads into the central chamber, opening up of the. As you approach that, you can see it looks shockingly frail for the amount of energy that's kind of being burped from the earth out of this. As you're kind of like on like just like those metal stairs that lead down to the next level, with a flimsy kind of like railing, as there's just sort of this heat radiating out, and as the heat goes up, you can see it kind of like becomes smoke that leaches out into the sky. But you can proceed down to the next level if you don't see any sign of guards on this level.
Can I use
Slowly and
my-
quietly.
Can I use my magic eye now to see if there's anything invisible around?
You can.
That's 1 action point.
As soon as what does it look like when you cast this?
I put my hand on Minvela's shoulder and kind of just like do like the little Scarlet Witch thing when she goes near people's heads, and just like the eyes go black again, and I'm looking to see if I can see anything invisible.
Okay. You would see something. So up above you, probably about 100 feet, and like a good 100 feet away from you, because this is a wide well, but like this isn't like a 10 diameter circle. It's very vast, and you can't see the bottom because the heat ripples the air so much. And every now and then, if there's like a burping that hits against where you are, you can see kind of like shielding. Take it, and then you'll calm down. You first of all can see that entire shield, the pillar of it. But the second thing you see is a drone. It's kind of flying up above, about 100 feet away. It hasn't come towards you yet. It's in the distance, but it's clearly a monitoring drone that's just sort of, and it has a cloaking device on it. See it.
Okay. And as I'm just there, wait a moment. I see something. There's a drone about 100 feet away. We've seen these before. You can't see it, but I can.
We should get in our disguises.
Yes. Quickly. I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Takes out everyone's disguises from my invisible pockets. Don't worry about it.
No problem.
Did you take the dress of many pockets?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mary Poppins dress.
Excellent.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, absolutely. You all look like Virian Corps. I'd say Raylan, you look like a Virian Corps soldier. 2 of you look like Virian Corps officers, and Alto looks like a standard Virian Corps nano. which are less sophisticated than what Alto is, the nanomechs, but they're similar. The thing, it didn't notice you at first, but if you were to proceed, it would notice you. Do you want to keep an eye on it as you move forward?
Yeah, so if you're an officers have like a hat or a hood or something, I'm going to like pull it down so I can keep the eyes up, so I can watch it, and I'll just kind of like hang on sneakily to Minvela's either shoulder or shirt or hand or whatever, just behind her, so I can keep a look on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep an eye on it.
You would see that it does notice you all as you're stepping down, but it kind of like it zooms a little lower to get a better look at you all, moving around the pillar of energy. You can see it now. It's like about 30 feet above. You can all see it now, or at least hear it. You can all hear it. You could just hear kind of like as it does have kind of like bumblebee style wings that are keeping it up. It's just sort of it's on.
Well done on the disguises.
Thank you.
All right, so as you now are proceeding down, find that you reach a level where it goes into a side chamber, another kind of ring around the center of the well. That is the second layer. Now this is most likely where those 4 guards are, not part of the 6. So how would you like to proceed?
I can whisper really quick to the group. I can create duplicates to create a distraction if we want to send them off in one direction, so we can go the other. Unless someone has a better idea.
Are you, not knowing the levels of people in this organization, are you high enough dressed to tell them they need to go outside and help with the disturbance that's happening?
Are we high enough rank for that? Officers?
You presume, from based on what Red said, that there's just scientists and soldiers. Officers, you would be like corporate members of the authoritative figures based on the attire you created. So someone who would have a marginal level of authority over soldiers, not the kind of thing where you could be like, go do this, but like they'll listen to you for the most part. You don't have complete command. Perhaps you'd be able to intimidate scientists if they saw you as the people paying their paychecks.
Yeah. Most likely, yes.
Another option. Not sure if it's the right one, just another option.
What do you think? Looking at my sister.
Hmm.
Maybe we should save the duplicates for when we need it more.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 6 more after this.
Yeah, maybe we can use it then.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So the plan is to act authoritative towards them and try to just pass on by being, we're imperial officers.
Nora, you're the scariest. I think you should do it.
With pleasure.
So as you start to move into this space, you would hear like down the line, you would hear like comms on them where they're saying into like a walkie essentially like, "What's the threat like out there?" They are in communication with the guards outside.
Okay.
There's no response on the other end of the mics, so just know that. Do know that there was a threat outside before you guys start to approach.
All right. Are you guys coming up with me, or are you staying back while I talk to them?
I'm going to, like, knowing what we're going to pretend to do, I will stand between you guys and where we came in. I'll have my spear out for this one, just kind of like protecting the backside kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to stay out of your way.
Okay.
I'll go up with
Yeah,
you
I'd
just
be-
in case.
Okay.
I'd be kind of in bodyguard status, also trying his best to look threatening.
Okay.
Just like, plants are less important than currency. Green alternatives do not suit the bottom line.
As you're approaching, you do see they kind of look at you a little funny as they kind of put the comms link away. You know, in their heads, you can assume they're like, "Who are these people? We're alone here."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what do you say when you approach?
All right. I as I'm moving forward, I just stand up really tall and thinking about all the people that were around where we were growing up, trying to emulate that as much as possible, and just say in my most menacing voice, "You there, why aren't you outside dealing with this?" And I would also at the same time want to try to like surreptitiously use my fear ability and breach the mind of the one that I'm talking to haunt them with their worst fear. And at this point, I guess I could say maybe I can make them think that there was somebody important to them out in the camp and they have to immediately go and check on it.
Okay. And is that an action point ability, the haunt?
It's 4.
Okay, because you're using that and it costs 4 points, no roll is needed here. As you come up and you have the vibe of the menacing officer in the Virian Corporation. And you see they just sort of like, at first they were like, the one holding the walkie was just looking at you, like really like weirded out. The other one actually like was in like a defensive stance. They had their gun out, whatever it was, nerves or whatever. But as you're talking to this one, he just goes, "Oh. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Get out there.
Yes, come on. There's some of the scientists out there, I think. Let's go. Call out if you need us." And they just sort of start to like, and you can see the one looks very confused at the other one and kind of like stares each of you down, but then like listens. But the one that you haunted in their mind, they kind of just, their eyes just keep on yours shakily, just terrified of you. And they're just like, and they move on. Doors are open. The next layer, where there are the 6 guards and the 2 scientists.
Red can deal with them, or he's gone. One of the two.
You are very scary.
Thank you.
Isn't she? It's so wonderful. Sometimes.
All right. How would you like to proceed down to this level?
You want me to see if there is more drones about, or does someone else have a different idea?
I have nothing. I'm here for muscle now.
Alto?
If we wanted to neutralize them, I'm not quiet.
And Vela? I have an idea, but I want to hear everyone's first.
So, what do we know about this level again?
You know that there are 6 soldier operatives. You know there are 2 scientists, and they're currently operating some kind of machine that is meant to penetrate through to a secret chamber.
Hmm.
And is there water in the middle of this? Like, is this like the bottom of the well?
Yes, you would be approaching the bottom of the well, where there would be like, so this would be a chamber off to the side, and within the actual basin of the well, it would be complicated mechanical parts that you can see dig deep into the earth, and they do seem to have like water tanks in there, that like several, like you can see, if you were to look in the center, there'd be like a ring of 12 of these machines that have these vast tanks in them of water, and you'd see above them is just sort of these rapidly spinning turbines from the geothermal steam, which is how they harness the energy.
Well, I have many ideas, but I think probably because of our
now.
the time limit and everything, we should probably just knock them the fuck out.
All right. And are these the only people left in here that we have to neutralize?
As far as you know, yes, there's only the 6 soldiers and
Okay.
the 2 scientists.
All right. This is my idea. Can create the duplicates of myself and Minvela, send them out, and when the soldiers notice them, because they're going to recognize us, that's when you go in, Alto. And that's when you don't need to be quiet then, because I'm sure they'll be shouting.
Oh, and then the
I
one
will
nanomech
wait for
too.
your signal.
Is everyone okay with that? All right. Then I will use another action point to use splitting image, and I will create. It says create illusory duplicates to confuse others. So I will make a duplicate of me and Minvela. And now, is it duplicates of how we look right now, or do I have some ability to manipulate how they look?
I would say that they are duplicates of your baseline appearance. So like these disguises are somewhat technical in the way that they're being created. So I would say that they would look like you officers you're portraying.
Okay. It was more so to be like the last time we were there, just to make us look like, whatever we were wearing the last time we were at the compound or wherever.
You could presume that they'd
They would just.
well, the nanomech probably have a biosignature scan of.
Okay.
Can I throw something to also help get their attention towards the clone sister, please?
100%.
Wait till they notice them first, then yes.
Okay.
So
Taking
there
out a
goes.
little bead.
Oh, wait.
So what you would see is you're kind of like, because you all are kind of like concealed behind the plumes from the well, and you can see into the well. Like you could see like the rapidly spinning turbines. Where they are is kind of off to the side, where they've dug a crevice into the earth that goes kind of like as a slight decline into where you can see from this perspective. You can see the 6 guards are kind of fanned at the opening of this dissension, with the nanomech right behind it. See the 2 scientists are working a machine down there. He has this very powerful laser that is cutting into what looks like a very pristine doorway that does not look like contemporary technology. It's very advanced looking, actually. And the laser's just slowly cutting through it. So, send the 2 kids out. All right, as you send them out, you would see the guards immediately start to step forward. You hear them shout commands at you all to stop, at your duplicates to stop. And you would hear some gargled speech from the nanomech, essentially identifying you 2. You hear a few gunshots aimed at the duplicates.
If they're a glitter bomb.
Yeah.
All right. Let us know what the glitter bomb does again.
So, the glitter bomb, a pouch of magic glitter that dispels invisibility. But I just wanted to make a big scene. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to obscure
Love
their
it.
vision. So.
Yep. And you know what? I'm gonna say that really helps because it looks like Nora's magic a little bit as it blooms out, as if you two were trying to conceal yourselves. These duplicates, and you see they do run after you at this point. I'd say 4 out of the 6 run after you. The other 2 are hesitantly moving towards it, but they are not committing entirely. They look back to the doctors, scientists.
All right. So how far away did they get? Like, is there enough for us to like rush the other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're like, because like there's a full circular like area around this, so like the duplicates are taking them down the opposite direction. So they'll be gone for a little bit. You'll have a few moments before they discover that they're just illusions.
Alto now.
Okay. I will cast. So that all the water is inside tanks. There's no like loose water.
No, there'd be some loose as well. Just there's definitely generally a like kind of like water around the well itself. That is just sort of steaming. Like it does. There's not a lot of it because most of it steams away, but there is some water. But most of it's in the tanks.
Okay, I'm going to use Gale. So this is 3 AP. As he, for a moment, starts to turn green again, and then looking over and making eye contact with Raylan, nodding, and then the gold sort of comes back over as lots of little nanobots start to fly off and form into this big fan. And I'm going to blast that area with the remaining people with wind. So when I first cast it, a gale forms across that you can spread across an area of any size and shape in your scene, as long as you can see the area of effect. Kicking up dust and sending small objects flying. Creatures inside can't see far away. And when you begin the spell, the gust knocks creatures to the ground and sends them tumbling backwards until they leave the area of effect. Creatures outside the gust can't enter it unless they're larger than the area of effect. So I'm going to try to like blast them out of that and into the water if I can.
Okay, hell yeah. How many points did that cost?
3.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely. So you see these nanobots come rushing up, and they start to form this gale that pushes. And you can see these two troopers kind of look, and they're just sort of like slowly being pushed back, and they're kind of trying to grab onto things. You can see the nanomech kind of like tries to push itself into the earth and clasp on, and you can see these 2 guards. At first, it's that whole thing with the like fast winds where it's like move like a few feet and then suddenly they just absolutely like ragdoll away. You can see they go casting out towards the hot water, and pillars of steam and whatnot, and they are taken care of. If they're alive, they are not moving, and they're probably not gonna be alive.
Just a question about where we came from. Is it just like a singular, like thin hallway, or what is it like behind us?
Yeah. So behind you is kind of like there's a circle platform. There is a rounded staircase that you came down from, and then there's the well. And kind of directly in front of you, about I'd say 100 feet or so, is the ascension where the scientists were working. So behind you is stairs that lead back up to the other section, and then an open hallway, a mezzanine, as you might call it, that leads around the entire well.
Okay. So then while Alto is doing that, I'm going to take my old busted sword, because I have to use an object, and I'm going to cast Sigil on it. and use the repel function. And I'm going to just slam that into the ground so that no creatures can pass it. So no one comes behind us.
Excellent.
Nice.
So that takes 2 of my action points. I'm real low, guys. Sun's getting real low. But I just figure in that case, the other 6 or 7 that we've sent past us can't make their way back.
Awesome.
Excellent. Okay, so
Clutch.
what is in front of you at this point is 2 scientists and the nanomech. The nanomech is large enough to withstand the winds. So, I'm ask everyone to roll initiative now as we approach these 3 ends.
Alto like watches everyone roll off, and he's like, I suppose we really aren't like trees. If they had rooted, they'd be fine.
All right.
You are right, Alto. You are right.
All right, 15 to 20.
17.
Nice. 10 to 15.
13. Oh no.
I'm a cleric.
5 to 9.
Oh no!
All right, what you guys get?
2.
Oh, no.
Hey, better this than an ability. Better
Yeah.
this than
I
Yeah.
just used up my 17, so...
When I rolled, I was like, well, at least it wasn't for anything else.
Yeah, right.
I figure it's just, I'm way in the back. I was doing the sigil thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm like, oh,
That's
crap, we're going in.
awesome. Amazing.
All right.
This is why I am a consta cleric.
All right, so as you're entering into this fight, just remember that you do have 1 reroll and a 1 auto success, basically. It is going to be Alto first. So just for reference, they are as you guys have moved forward a little bit, so they're in range of any ranged attacks, but you'll have to move up to get up close to attack them in person, which you can do. But Alto, you are up, and then Nora, you're on deck. Enemies, Raylan and Minnie.
Alto, I think, runs forward up towards the other nanobot and says, I am in control of my faculties now. I am many things, and I have added more things to my retinue. My friends, would you like to join our friendship? And slams his hand onto its face. And I'm going to use Steel Sprout, which turns nearby metal objects into a weave of delicate plants.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
I think
God.
what he's trying to do
Yeah.
is he's trying to push that fungus into this other nanobot.
Yeah.
Assimilate.
Yeah.
And this
Hell yeah.
this costs action points?
This costs 2, yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say you can... this is going to require a roll to see if it is transferred, if it becomes sentient. It will, no matter what, be weakened by this at first. So let's do that D20 roll here.
Yeah, I don't think this would be like a knockout thing, but I'm interested to see what it would do.
Absolutely.
20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20.
Nope.
There
11,
is,
though.
there is, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was going to say there is a reroll
Yeah.
and an auto success there.
Yep.
Okay, so with an 11, you see your nano roots. So yeah, tell me what this looks like. Because as you approach, there's sort of this moment where you're just, the two of you are looking at each other, and you're mostly similar in your parts. They have those green lights you're talking about around on them. And it does kind of talk in that voice that you've been talking in. It's just sort of like, stop immediately, threat to the Virian core. We will eliminate you immediately. What does it look like when your nanotechnology goes in, or your fungus technology, we'll say?
So his hand hits its face, and then immediately it just becomes all of the colors on both of us just rush to the front surface. So it's like he's all Alto's all gold in the front and the nanobot is all green in the front, and slowly that green, like roots of a tree, start to work their way in, and even little mushrooms with the effort of this start to kind of pop out in the seams in between nanobots on this other creature.
So what I'm going to need from you is, and because you're coming in close contact with Virian technology, I need that advantaged control roll from you.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness for advantage. It's a 7 and a 17.
Okay,
Whoa.
excellent. So this sort of battle of programming, protocol, and fungus all happens at once as the rest of you are kind of like rushing forward as well. The scientists, you see them looking back, and they're, you see one of them just like starts like hitting at the machine and typing in things, and you can see the laser just is going through much faster now, much harder. As the other one is, you can see they're trying to probably someone on some kind of comm technology. But as this back and forth is going, you can see the mushrooms are sprouting, the fungus is sprouting and kind of going all across. You can see like this golden light coming off of the mushrooms, helping your light enter. And you see it's just like, and you see it finally lets go, and it kind of like steps back. It just like looks at its own nano parts, and it starts to like fall apart and then reform itself over and over again, kind of like unsure. It's going through this existential process right now that you might recognize from when you first gained sentience, that it's like having trouble keeping itself together, and it's incapacitated. It has not fully become sentient, but for now, it is unsure of itself. And on its turn, it is going to make a roll to see which direction this goes for it permanently.
And Alto is like encouraging it, and it's like, let go of your guilt. We just need to be better than we were yesterday. We do not have to be what they made us.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god, I love Alto so much. Like tearing up from that. Oh my god.
Right?
Nora, you are up. There are those two scientists. You can see one is controlling the laser cutter mechanic. The other one is clearly like trying to send out some kind of distress signal.
So when an ability has an AP like a 1/4, does that mean I can use up to 4 action points to affect that amount of creatures?
Read me the ability.
It's perky profanation, curse a nearby creature to behave absurdly.
Yes. Then the 1 through 4 does mean that.
So, I would like to use 2 action points, and I would like to cast this on the scientists, and I want them to start smashing the laser.
Okay. All right. I like that. All right. I'm going to say because you use action points, this is going to work absolutely on them. That's 2 action points, and they are going to attack the laser on their turn instead of you guys, which is right now.
Nice.
I love it. Love it. Okay. So you see they, because they're scientists and they are not necessarily going to pull out some like wrenches and just start hitting it, they are going to attack it how they can attack it with science. So you see one of them starts to type into it, and you can see the other one not typing into it, pulling vials out of their jacket and pouring it all over the machine. As you can see, it starts to bubble up acidically, and different compounds are all eating away at the technology, eliminating their ability to send out a distress call. The other scientist, I am going to roll for this to see what happens with what he does. Okay, so he rolled low, which means that it's technically difficult choice is happening to him. What I'll say, because this is an external force doing something, he will successfully destroy the machine. But before he does it, the way that he destroys it is by overloading it. And you can see the laser goes shooting out, incredibly powerful. You can feel the heat from it, and it rips a big old hole in this door. And you can kind of see through it a little bit as a bunch of dust kicks out and the machine explodes, sending these 2 scientists flying back incapacitated. You will have a few moments after I roll for this robot's existential crisis, where the other guards are not going to come back, and you'll have a moment to do something to plan.
Well, they can't because there's the.
They can't come back.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, they can be on the other side of that sigil waiting for us.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Okay, so the robot is like it's like you see it brings its arms to its head, and it just sort of like falls apart, sinks into itself, becomes this, and then it kind of sinks down into this puddle, kind of like Alto did earlier. In Alto, you can see kind of just sort of like little like nano tentacles come out and come back in, and see little puffs of spores coming out before it kind of like slowly but surely rebuilds itself piece by piece, and then it comes up and it just sort of, you see lines of gold light go over it.
Yeah.
As it just looks at you, Alto, and just like, what am I?
Now, you're whatever you want to be.
What do I want to be?
Oh. Ooh. You should try an octopus. That is one of my favorites.
Octopus. And you see it immediately, and you see all these tentacles come out in this octopus body, and it just sort of starts crawling around on the ground. And you ever seen octopus run? In those little videos, it starts doing that, where it just has its feet up, and it's like perfectly straight up, and it's running around in circles, and you can hear this little like chuffing sound coming from it that sounds like the nanobots are kind of like just like scraping against each other. This music's too intense for this moment.
It's perfect.
And just furiously running around the room.
You just hear this like vibrating sound from the nanobots that Alto you can identify as kind of like laughter. As these 6 guards are on the like approaching shield wall that you have up, essentially. What would you all like to do?
Do we need to look in the door that we just blasted open?
Good,
see
if you
what
want
the
to.
hell's down there?
They did ask for you to see if you could find out what they were looking for.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Down we go.
So there is definitely a hole big enough for you all to go in. As you go in, the lights it's completely dark in there, but you can tell this is a vast cavern because as you enter, your steps echo. There's a massive shadow in the middle that you can tell is some kind of structure. And you can see something moving inside of it. It is a massive, massive tank, it looks like.
Is it the whale?
Is there light in here?
There's no light in here.
I'm going to pull out my magic candle, and I'm going to light it. And we now have a candle, so that's going to help a lot. But we have some light.
I imagine it's bright enough to it'll spread out in this dark space. And as you
it doesn't say how far it goes. It just says that it turns itself on and off, and it drips wax, but it doesn't get smaller.
I think that's great, and I think it's definitely kind of like a Gandalf staff level of brightness that comes out.
Yes.
And you do see kind of immediately goes up, and you can see this dust-covered tank. And as it goes up, you can see this massive maw just kind of and kind of like rams into the tank as you see these 2 horns hit the tank, and you see it starts to crack. As you can see, like protocols seem to be like defense protocols seem to be going up as the space lights up, as if the light you lit attracted the eyes of this great horned long whale. As it then kind of like you can see it kind of disappear into the dark as you see like lights go up the walls in these like different circuitry. This is old world technology, as you can see start shooting sparks of lightning into the tank, and you can hear this long bellowing whale-like cry as it comes rushing forward. Might suggest you jump to the side.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will.
I would say someone would have to pull
sister.
Alto because he's standing there like.
Oh,
I got
I would
you.
pull Alto.
Oh, you got it. All right.
Alto.
As this creature shatters through this, and you can see this sort of strange kind of violet liquid comes pouring out that it was being held in, pouring out all around you and flooding this area as it slithers out and crushes through this. It is probably it's probably hundreds of feet long. It just keeps coming out, and you can see it has this kind of green whale-like sleek skin on its back, and then this like really bright red scaly belly, and it has these little tiny wings all up its body that are kind of like simultaneously whale fins and a little feathered at the ends. It has several eyes up all across the top of the mouth, and the mouth is very much so like a whale shark's mouth and massive, with those spindly teeth inside of it. As it just sort of pushes through, you can see it rips through your shield out there, and those guards go flying as it comes ripping out and up the thermal well out.
I kind of really want us all to use like our grappling hooks and just ride the whale out of here like never-ending story.
Hell yes.
I would allow that. Because it's awesome.
Where I want you to go. This is our escape plan. This is how we get out.
Yep, I love it.
I absolutely love that. Yes, you grab onto, you fire your grappling hooks, and it clings onto the hide of this whale, and you pull yourselves up, and you hold on for dear life as it rips through the sky, and you see it. It moves with wriggling force, like it's a fish swimming through the sky, as you are moved through the clouds, and you're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet up in the air at this point, and you can tell it's angry. You can feel its anger radiating off of it, and it is going for the Virian floating island. And no, it's okay, because you would suddenly see these pores open up on it, on the skin, and you can see just sort of these massive violet purple bubbles, like the liquid it was in, envelop all of you, and then it just and you fall off, and you slowly are floating to the ground in violet bubbles.
Amazing.
As you can see, its hundreds and hundreds of foot long body wraps around the Virian island, just constricts it, and you can see it just explodes with the mechanics and all the parts. The engine fails, and it just shatters into a million pieces that then turn into somewhat of an aurora borealis that lights up the sky in a red and green as this creature flies around Sonder on this Yule evening.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
that's where we're going to end tonight, because we definitely went over, and I don't want to eat up Kelsey's game's time.
You're fine.
But what I like to do in the end is have everyone say a favorite moment and give a little epilogue for their character, and what they might be doing as they move on, as you all float gently down back to Sonder under the beautiful lights. And you could also give your kind of goodbye and where we can find you. So we'll go in reverse order this time with Shannon.
My goodness, favorite moment. Every single fucking thing that Alto did, but more specifically, when you first started describing Red and Oscar and just being like, we know them! And I love when characters from other games make cameos. It's amazing. As for Nora, I believe once they've, popped out of the bubbles, they'll return to Seymour's, and hopefully Felix is fucked off by now, and Vela can start making the workshop that she wanted, and she will barely see Nora because she'll be downstairs reading and reading and reading and reading, and she only eats when you bring her food.
Lovely.
Oh yeah, I'm Shannon. Hi. This was so much fun. I love the system. I love this crew. You guys are amazing. I am from Paradice Productions, along with our lovely guide. He's our DM on Monday nights, and the other half of the Shannon Power, and was on the internet. And we've got, you heard me, and we've got other programming throughout the week, and you can find me on all socials at sroby25. I am our community manager and resident rogue. This was amazing. So much fun. Throwing it over to my sister.
Thank you, Shannon.
That's me. Hi. I'm Kelsey, also Roguzu on Twitter and YouTube, where I draw a bunch of things, talk about first time DMing, and now telling a little love story between my character and an NPC that happened. But yeah, I've been Minvela, and my favorite moment was the absolute chaos that happened from the Nat 1 that I rolled.
Oh yeah.
The dress and then the ball just going off just chaotically, and I love that freaking Alto like had the tree eat it. Really love that. That was probably my favorite moment.
Excellent. Star?
I'm StarShinobi. You can find me on Outcast and Outclassed on every other Thursday on Waffles Maple Syrup channel, jeez, where I played Pathfinder and decided that I was going to go with Oracle, which is apparently the most complicated class in Pathfinder, so that's a good way to start. The other one is I'm an agent of Nyx next Friday, which is our finale for their Holiday Heroes campaign, where they are raising money to help sick kids also to be able to turn them into superheroes for a day. So if you're in the giving mood still in December, check us out next Friday at Creators Assemble. My favorite moment was Alto changing his fellow mech and just kind of saying the same things we had said to him before. You can be better, just be better. Oh god, I literally got teared up at that. But as for how Raylan would go into the sunset, she feels really bad that we decimated almost everything that Felix gave them. So after going through an adventure of not having to go into her fighting self, it's not something she's ever had to encounter of not having to go to that area, she will actually give Felix her Draconis sword as compensation for everything that they blew up.
Oh, I love it. I don't think we got Minvela's epilogue.
Yeah, forgot about that. So she completely does over Felix's thing. It is like, even though she's also a big tech person, like making things, she has everything organized, optimized. Everything is just clean, spotless. There's not going to be any of the little lizard opossums. So, like, sadly, even though I love them. But yeah, she's just making her own workshop and inventing a lot of fun things. And this city is going to be glowed up in no time.
Love it. Mike?
Yeah, my name's Mike Fardy. I'm the DM over at Wonders and Blunders. We're a 5e family comedy podcast. You can't really find me anywhere because I'm bad at social media, but you can follow at Wonder and Blunder on just about anything. And you can hear my weird voice doing weirder things on that all the time. We have like 100 episodes or something. My favorite moment, I mean, I loved every animal you described, Sean. Just incredible. I did not see the whale coming at the end, and so was genuinely delighted that the horned long whale existed. I loved the Nora talking to the book. I loved just watching Kelsey be furious at Felix's workshop. And Raylan's speech was really, really amazing. I really felt like it pushed Alto into like out of all of his problems, which was really nice. And for Alto, I think he watching everything kind of explode Avirion above before everybody split up, I think he would have just started to dissolve. The Naturalist has a legendary ability called World Seed. And basically you sacrifice yourself to seed the world. So I think he would, as he was talking with everybody, just sort of start to dissolve, and his nanobots would kind of make their way up and maybe attach themselves to the long whale. So as the long whale reigns over places, his fungus would make its way into any nano machines that Virion has planted around the islands. And he would look at everyone as he's sort of dissolving, and with like one last little poem would just say, I hope for where my spark will go, to gardens where the flowers grow, to rivers burbled ebb and flow. But this is all I need to know, that my memory will show on winter nights when wild winds blow, and my friends look up at night's green glow, where a part of me will say hello as you try to distinguish stars from snow. I'll spend every day being better than the last. Shut up, friends, and then off into the sky.
Oh, my God. Absolutely gorgeous. And I've been Sean, your guide for this evening. One of my absolute favorite parts was Grappling Hook riding the whale out. As I then was like, oh, that's right, the whale's going to destroy the island up there. How do I get them out of here? And I was like, oh, there's bubbles. But I have been Sean. I can be found at Odo_Sean all over the place. And for a little epilogue for Sonder, this place is become a bustling place of beautiful displays of magic and technology. As you all return after Alto's sacrifice, you find Seymour closing a book he was reading by the fire, and he smiles at you all as he hands the book to Nora. Gifts you this library as he seems to himself almost vanish into dust, golden dust, and disappear into the fire. And it's gone. The
Not gonna lie, I thought that way back when you described him having a button nose.
I know, right? But the Sonder becomes a beautiful place to visit, to see the beautiful plant life in the great horned long whale that rains life down on any drift it visits. As anyone who goes to the spot of Alto's sacrifice would find a small, humble tree growing there, tended to by Tenor, the freed mech that Alto created.
It's too perfect!
And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We are gonna go to a break where we're gonna throw up some ads for our sponsors as well as the charity, and then we will come back for Kelsey's game. That I believe is World of Darkness. Is that what it is?
It's World of Darkness, so there's going to be a lot more horror than this.
Hope you got your dessert first, because we're about to get wild.
Exactly. So we're going to go to those ads now. We're going to transfer over to the new tech and let in the new folks. And yeah, thanks so much, everyone. This was a blast, a pleasure. I always love playing this game. Fun people, and for a great cause. Say goodnight, folks.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
See you soon.